Thank you.
You want to move, you can move closer.
Thank you. Welcome. Excuse me. Welcome to the Wareham Conservation Commission meeting of Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. The Wareham Conservation Commission will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and/or the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6, and any other applicable laws on Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. All matters listed may involve a decision and possible vote. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. And I will start with a roll call. Joe?
Joseph Still.
Donna Colbert.
Jessica Park.
Autumn Wood.
Sandy Slavin?
Kwame Barty.
Paula Jean O'Neill.
Michael Mercier.
Denise Schultz.
And Joshua Faraday.
And welcome back, Jessica. Thank you. I hope it was a good vacation.
You didn't bring the sunshine, though.
Yeah,
Got to go back.
you left it behind. Kwame, can you read the first hearing, please?
Sure. Notice of public hearing pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6. A public hearing will be held in Room 320, Wareham Multicultural Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. On Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. On the request for determination of applicability for Nicole Norris, 29 Central Street, Auburndale, Massachusetts, 02466, to construct a sunroom, patio, and outdoor shower. Map 50, Lot A-114, 25 Bayview Street, Wareham, Mass.
Is there anybody here to represent this project? Yes, I am. Please come forward and identify yourself.
Do I sit here or?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm my first time here. My name is Brian Taylor from Stenbeck and Taylor. We're civil engineers and land surveyors in Marshfield. And we've been asked by Ms. Nicole Norris, the owner of the property, to represent her in this RDA for a addition. It's a single-level Cape-style home, 10,000 square foot neighborhood. The existing property is fully surrounded by fences, very flat level ground, average ground contour of 11. We're in an AE15 flood zone, which is the reason for the RDA. There's no other resource areas within our jurisdictional area. We're proposing to do a single-story sunroom and an outdoor shower and a patio. The sunroom addition would be on sonotubes. And we've provided structural engineers' plans as well as architectural plans of the project there, described by Rockwood Design Associates.
Okay, thank you. I will ask for commission's questions. Okay, Jessica, I'll start with you.
No questions.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
No, I have no questions, thank you.
Michael?
I just have one question. Any concern about any runoff from the new addition?
Nope, there'll be no alteration of grade. It's a single-story house, one step up. There's existing street drainage in the front, and the soils maps indicate it's all very good, well-drained soil.
Right, and when you mean one step up, the same level, size of the house?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yep, match
thank
the
you.
floor levels.
I think his question has, do you have any type of attempt to have any type of wet wells or anything to catch the drainage from the new roof?
We haven't provided those. We certainly, if the commission feels that's recommended, we can order.
Well, one of the things that, when we consider that, is that it's going over an existing paved area, so
Yeah.
the runoff has always been there, but okay, Denise?
That's what I wanted to find out. The building is going where the patio is now?
Yes.
You're out there?
Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be
And-
that size, basically.
Yep, there's a perimeter there. There's a bulkhead that'll remain. There was a former outdoor shower, pretty much the same
So,
location.
so that-
Yeah, so-
Then I guess I would be looking for some type of runoff from the roof, what you're going to do with that water.
Sure, we'd be happy to, we have a typical detail that we use. I didn't include it here. I didn't know that that was something the commission was looking for, but we could certainly agree to a condition of providing a dry well. I think a single dry well will probably capture the roof. It's a small addition.
Joe?
None for me.
Donna?
No questions.
Josh, your turn. I did ask everybody, didn't I? Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Hearing that the commission wants some type of dry well added, do you want to continue until you receive a revised plan, or do you want to approve and, have me issue it once we receive the revised plan?
I'm comfortable with approving with the condition that you receive a revised plan before you approve the continuance of the project. Anybody objects to that? Anybody in, sorry, your recommendation then?
Then I would recommend issuing a -3 determination with the condition of receiving a revised plan showing a dry well.
Okay, anybody in the audience or online that would like to comment on this project? Seeing none?
I motion to close the hearing.
We have a motion
Seconds.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstains. We are 600 to close the hearing.
I motion to issue a -3 determination with the condition of receiving a revised plan showing a dry well.
That's the motion.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. We are 600.
Thank you all very much.
You're done, you got it. Just see Josh
We'll do.
once you
follow up
give
with
him the
Josh.
revised plan for your paperwork.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you.
Hope everybody fares well tonight in the weather.
Next hearing, please.
Okay, the next hearing is for requests for notice of intent for David Darling, 3031, 3033, 3035, 3039 Cranberry Highway, East Wareham, Massachusetts, 02538. Redeveloping the parking area adjacent to Waterways Water Park to expand, improve, and reconfigure it to address public safety concerns. The proposed wetland replication is a 1-to-1 ratio, and this is on map 12, lots 3, lots LC36, LC35, LC11, and LC10-B, 3031, 3033, 3035, and 3039 Cranberry Highway, East Wareham, Mass.
Thank you, and who's here to represent this project? Please come forward and identify yourself. The guy with the Hemi.
You caught me.
You could hear it in the parking lot.
Could hear it move from one spot to the other.
I did that.
The chairwoman caught me moving from one side of the parking lot to the other because I went to the wrong building. I don't have an umbrella and I know it's going to rain. It's not that I didn't want to walk an additional 6 spaces, for the record. Anyway, good evening, Madam Chair, members of the
Can't hear
board.
anything on the Zoom? Yeah, but that creates a larger issue that we need to fix, that maybe people on the Zoom can't hear us. So can you pause our meeting for a moment while we try to figure out that
All right.
technical difficulty?
So, I think we'll just hold.
The
Can we
Zoom.
We're going to table the minute. We have a Zoom problem.
Sorry about this technical difficulty.
Might just be on her, on our colleague's end.
Yeah, I just want to clarify if that is the case.
Do I have to reread all those numbers all over again?
No,
Okay, thank you.
we just
That's
have
a
to
lot
wait
of
to hear
numbers.
for them to introduce themselves so we can start talking
Thank
about
you.
the project.
Excellent. Perfect.
Yeah, they can't hear it on the Zoom.
I think we're probably good now. Can anyone in the Zoom respond in the chat if you can hear us or not? Well, I guess if you can hear us. If you can't hear us, you won't respond. Yeah.
Well,
Hey, Dave, can you hear us? Okay.
you have to
Um,
allow him in order to respond.
Hold on, Dave. I think we might have to turn up the volume through Wareham Cable Television to hear you. Dave, can you hear us?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Amanda says it's better now.
All right, so we have, your party is on that, can hear us now. All right, so we'll go back to, please introduce yourself slowly so I can write down the last names.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Faraday. For the record, my name is Eric Brainsky. It's Eric with a C, Brainsky, B-R-A-I-N-S-K-Y. I'm the attorney for the developer and applicant, David Darling and his businesses. I'm with the law firm of Brainsky, spelled the same way, Levinson, L-E-V-I-N-S-O-N, in Seekonk, Massachusetts.
And you have with you,
I have with me Mr. Matt Byrne. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Matt Byrne, B-U-R-N-E, a senior ecologist with BSC Group.
I'm Taylor Dowdy, D-O-W-D-Y, Senior Project Manager for Civil Engineering at BSC Group.
And we have Amanda Smith, who is on the Zoom. Hopefully she can hear.
all right, please talk to us about this project.
Right, so I'd like to just give a very brief overview, and I'm going to turn it over to the engineers. My client, Mr. Darling, purchased the Waterways property and amusement park in May of 2022. Since that time, and I know everybody's aware of this site, so I'm not going to delve into where it's located and addresses, but when my client purchased it, it was immediately brought to his attention by members of the Board of Selectmen, public safety officials in Wareham, the planner, the zoning board, and other department heads that there was not a sufficient site plan on record, and there had been a number of what they call traffic safety and other safety concerns over the years due to folks parking, trying to get in and out of the park, et cetera, that were not... Whoa. That... Test. I think we're good. I hope. That we're not...
Nope.
Sounds like you're echoing. Sounds like Mike's echoing too.
I'll hold. Oh. Test, test, test. Are we good now?
Well, I don't hear an echo yet.
Small one?
Can you turn down the speaker one? Yeah. I think that's where.
Shall I wait, Madam Chair? Sorry. Shall I wait, though?
We done? You got it? Nor? Unsure, to be honest. Not sure. Well, give it a shot.
We'll give it a shot. So, these traffic safety and other concerns were not previously addressed by the prior owner. My client was left holding the bag, so to speak. The traffic improvements made out on Cranberry Highway by the state have exacerbated the situation for a number of different reasons. That one-way only and turn-only lane that they put in and then took out had created some issues last summer. So we've been having some meetings with members of the Board of Selectmen, the town planner, members of the zoning board, et cetera, to see what we can do to better the site. This is really the first step in the process. What we have in front of you is a site plan that basically shows a redevelopment of the entire parking area, which will call for the demolition of that house that's on site. That's really outside the commission's jurisdiction, but at least you know about it. It's in the center of the parking lot. The entire parking lot is going to get repaved, striped, and have a traffic, what we call an internal circulation plan, as well as a traffic mitigation plan for Cranberry Highway, et cetera. As part and parcel to that, there's a small IVW located on the, what I'll call east-southeast portion of the site that is really the central purpose of, and central focus of this application. We're asking for a little bit less than 5,000 square feet. I believe it's 4,900 and change. The engineers can address it to fill and replicate that wetland as shown on the plans before you. We believe that the filling and replicating of the IVW will not only assist the public safety concerns and assist in alleviating those concerns with the town and the Department of Public Safety, et cetera, but it's also absolutely necessary, given the constraints of the site, to make this site work. You know, over the course of the last few years, what we call the horseshoe, which is on the lower southeast portion of the adjacent property, well, it's actually the southwest portion of their property, southeast of ours, past that. Cars were parking there along the tracks and all the way down, which created a whole litany of safety concerns. The purpose of what you see before you is to eliminate the need for any of cars that are going to be serviced, that are going to park at this facility, to have to use that area at all. What we believe, in addition to the public safety benefits to what's proposed, is, and the engineers and biologists can explain this a little bit more, the IVW that is going to be filled will be replicated on the adjacent property, and as part of that replication will actually create a more functional, more environmentally friendly and conducive wetland feature that exists out there today. So you have actually two benefits. One, you're helping to hopefully resolve the public safety concern, and B, you're getting a better wetland than what's existing there today. That being said, that's the kind of 10,000-foot overview. I'm happy to take specific questions that I may have. If not, I'll turn it over to the engineers with one final note. Mr. Darling, if you can raise your hand, that's the owner who's in the audience, if there's any specific questions of Mr. Darling.
Okay, Matt, Taylor, either one, take it up.
Thank you. I think Amanda would like to do the presentation.
Yeah, we'd like to check and see if Amanda can be given the ability to share her screen, and she has a short presentation that should clarify what's happening.
Can you hear me?
I think she's muted. We can't hear you, Amanda, so hang on. We're going to try and maybe unmute you.
Oh, we have a screen. Okay.
But can you hear me at all?
Barely.
Can you turn your volume up, Amanda, maybe?
Turn it up?
As high as you can get it. Give it 1 second, Amanda. They're going to try and turn up the volume here. Say test, test.
So yes, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Great.
Much
So
better.
I'm Amanda Smith with BSC Group. Now that we've talked a little bit about the public benefit of the project, I was going to describe the environmental conditions of the site and the proposed conditions with the new development and mitigation being proposed. So as you know, this is our site location. Existing parking is only about 104 spaces, and then all of this is gravel, sandy, overflow parking that's very undefined. And the proposed parking would have like clear circulation lines and have additional extra parking, as well as having 12 ADA compliant spaces. So that's more of the public interest. We are asking for two considerations for waivers of the no activity zones or reduction of no activity zones. The first one being for altered or otherwise pervious surfaces within the buffer zone. I'm, in this instance, considering these compacted gravel and sandy areas where there is parking happening to be more or less impervious. And then also looking at the overall benefit to the public as well as the environment. And we are requesting a waiver to allow for the filling of an IVW, which will be replaced with BVW, which will not only be protected by the local bylaws, but also will be protected by state and federal laws. So we'd be creating a little bit better of habitat than is currently there, or that's our hope. Looking at the current site, this is aerial imagery from 2007. You can see parking all down in here, coming up into here, which is buffer zone, all in here, which is buffer zone, and all throughout, and it's very undefined. Looking at it from the site view, you can see just lots of gravel. When it rains, that all just kind of washes around, can easily be washed into the wetland areas. So there's a lot of potential for erosion and filling of our resource spaces just at the site. And so this is looking at it again, 2012. We still have that high demand for parking spaces, and they're filling up, getting very close and encroaching into wetland resource buffer zone areas. And again, you can see this gravel road to the overflow parking, which is in between this IVW and the BVW. And you can see the sediment transfer that like easily just washes out. And then this is looking at the area where a lot of the cars are parking. That's a look at this space. So one of the immediate benefits that's just required when you do paving and redevelopment projects is improvements to stormwater. So it's going to be actually managed and be going through water quality units. So that removes a lot of the suspended materials, captures a lot of other potential pollutants. In addition, they have subsurface storage for that stormwater. So you're not getting that influx, right, washing right into your resource area. And that will create a lot of improvements for water quality, just to start things off. Additionally, we are proposing more or less 1 foot or 1 to ratio of replication area, as you can see in this image. Trying to remember. So looking at this, you can see it looks a lot fuller from aerial images, but it is a rather sparse with minimal understory for this IVW area. And then again, looking at that overflow compacted area, very minimal vegetation in here, minimal function for habitat or other resource values. So we are proposing to do wetland restoration and replication of the lost space that we would be filling, but also adding in a restored buffer zone. So pulling back and removing any excess gravel, restoring the soils, and adding native vegetation so that there is habitat as well as a buffer zone to really help and protect that area. It will also be giving 75 feet and more of buffer zone, where currently they're pretty close to the 50 foot, if not closer. And so we'll be giving a lot more buffer area back, as well as having fencing so that cars will not be driving down there anymore. There won't be risk of additional encroachments. That is the general summary. And if you have any questions,
Okay,
let me know.
thank you. Anything else before we start asking questions?
Not from me.
Yeah, I think I'm satisfied. She gave a great description of the stormwater quality units and the Coltech chambers that are infiltrating the runoff from the future parking lot. So that's the intent of the stormwater system, and I think we're both happy to entertain any questions.
I'm going to start with Denise, because I know she's going to say you need a 2-for-1. So Denise, go for it.
Okay. First, I would prefer to go with the MACC's recommendations for maximizing the chance of success on your replication. And it would involve dealing with a specialist in this area, where you would have increased compliance monitoring of the area, supervised construction and replication of the area by the specialist, require completion of the replication area before the project starts, requires substantial completion of replication area before using or issuing a partial certificate of compliance, do not allow stormwater detention ponds to qualify as wetland replication, ensure that the OOC have been recorded on the project site deeds, require in-kind replication of equal or double. I would prefer to go with the 2-to-1 ratio, because there is a lot of failure with replication, and we wouldn't want to lose wetland. This would give us a buffer for maintaining the same type of area. And then a required monitoring of the replication project for 3 years.
Okay, what document are you reading from?
I'm reading from Replication of Bordering Vegetation Wetlands, the section in the MACC manual, 14.2. 14.2.2.
Okay, Eric, did you get it?
I have it. Thank you,
Got it?
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Provide you with a copy.
That'd be really helpful. Thank you.
We have a copy sheet.
I'm a board member of MACC, so I'll get,
okay.
I'll get him a copy.
Get it for him then.
Sure.
Even better.
So that's not a new reading to you, is it?
No, it is not.
They have a section, 14C, that talks about the actual replication of the project, in-kind replication, more area to be created than lost, detail of the plans and schedule for planting, monitoring, reporting, and correcting problems such as incorrect elevations and plant mortality, to provide these things to us, detailed plans of what exactly you're going to do and how it's going to be monitored and maintained. And as you're familiar with it, you can then go through the rest of the barrier prevention situations and so forth. My other question was, on your proposed tree line, what type of tree are you proposing to put in there? We'd like to know that in detail. You talk about a benefit of a pond breeding wildlife. I don't understand what that is and how it is fitting into this whole thing. Proposed pond breeding restoration. Can you
Yeah.
explain that?
Yeah, of course. So we didn't want to go too far down the road of designing all that restoration replication area until we knew how the commission felt about this. So by all means, if you are positively disposed toward this proposal, we will absolutely put all that work in and give you full restoration plans. We have a number of specialists at BSC that do this full-time, so we've got the capability to give you a full, complete plan. As far as your recommendation of going 2-to-1, I don't disagree. In this particular case, that chews into potential buffer zone restoration. We can certainly do that. But it's our professional opinion that the site would be better off ecologically to get 1-to-1 replication of the wetland and maximize the amount of buffer zone that we can establish and create and improve.
And that creates an issue if there's percentage of failure in that area.
Understood.
Area.
So maybe what we could talk with you about is a 1.5 to 1, so that we reduce that risk or mitigate that risk, and still, sort of lean toward maximizing buffer zone improvement.
Okay.
But entirely open, if you say absolutely not 2-to-1, then 2-to-1.
Well, if I may.
Yeah.
Environmentally, I understand, and I understand the dialogue that's going back and forth, but the one X factor we have to say here is, this is an abutting property, so this is an adjacent property. My client does not own it. He's had these conversations with the property owner, who's preliminarily said, I'd like to know more, but it sounds acceptable to me. But we've been talking about the 5,000 square foot range, so not 10,000 or 7,500, so
A 1-to-1 is not acceptable.
Okay.
Really, there's a large percentage of failure in a wetland replication, and we don't want to lose the wetland percentage that we have.
So we'll have to go back to the,
We have to.
I just want to put it out there that that's something we'll have to
I understand
discuss.
that, but it's something that you need to work out.
Very
Because
well.
we really need a larger area for
Is-
wetland replication.
Is it, just so I understand it, is 2 to 1 a line in the sand here, or is this a negotiation between 1 to 1 and 2 to 1?
It's all a negotiation.
Okay, I just want to know where we stand.
Haven't heard from all of us.
We'll work with you on it.
Yes.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
just want to make sure that we've got the wetland replication, you're taking wetland. We're very strict with our wetland. We're also very
you
strict
should
with our
be.
no-activity zone, and you were talking about a no-activity zone. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, I think that's just associated with the fact that we are proposing to fill this wetland and replicate it off-site. So theoretically, by filling the wetland, we're also impacting the no-activity zone.
Okay. So if we handle the 2 to 1 or whatever ratio we come up with, then the no-activity zone is not an issue? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. Now, talk about the pond.
So in the bordering vegetated wetland that is east of the IVW that we're proposing to fill, this is sort of classic vernal pool looking. I was just over there this evening, and it looks like a nice pond, that I would expect wood frogs, salamanders to be breeding in. The IVW is not that. It's quite a bit less standing water. It's very turbid. There's no vegetation in it. So in looking at it, I'm not seeing much potential wildlife habitat value in that IVW. But the BVW looks very nice. And as is typical in a situation like this, this is a completely isolated wetland. You hemmed in by Cranberry Highway, by the railroad, by parking and other development. I didn't see any indicators of vernal pool wildlife in that nicer BVW. But if we can get some improved, essentially non-breeding habitat in that what is currently parking area, there's a possibility of either seeing just organically frogs show up because they'd have a place to live outside of the pond, or this is kind of a outside the box opportunity, but maybe we seed that with some wood frogs or something. Who knows? But I think that's what we're talking about. There's potential here. It looks nice, that BVW. And if we can make improvements that are sort of focused on wildlife habitat value, then I think overall we can see improvements to quality of wildlife habitat for the wetlands of the site.
And then, as I said, if you could just provide what you're planning on planting in terms of the tree line and what do you call it? I lost the word, wetland replication area.
Of course.
We can
yeah.
definitely do that.
Big
Yeah,
plans.
there's not very much invasive out there. There's a little bit of Scotch broom to remove, but the rest of it's kind of pitch pine and oak and maple. So I would expect a very similar palette.
Okay. Thank you.
If I may,
Good start.
Madam Chair, Ms. Schultz, I just want to say thank you. I've been doing this 18 years, 19 years. Been in front of a lot of conservation commissions, and there's always this kind of opaque response when I ask a question of, geez, is this a negotiation, is it not? And you came right out and you said, 1 to 1 is not acceptable. And then 2 to 1 is what we want, and then we could talk from there. Rarely do I get a clear and concrete answer like that, where I
am usually clear and concrete.
where I could go back to my client, where I could go back to my client and my team and say, hey, guys, you heard Ms. Schultz, this is what we have to do, instead of saying, well, we won't know till the night of the vote. It's helpful to a development team. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Michael,
Well, I see why I started on this side.
I was going to say, how are you going to follow that one?
No, actually, a lot of mine was going to be concerns of the wetland. The only question I will ask, though, is this an area when it's done, should we put up signs saying wetland area or something like that, or?
Well, there's going to be a fence around it. I'm going to talk about that fence to prevent animals from crossing into your parking lot, but that's another discussion for my turn. But
But that was only gonna be, again, I'm not sure I was gonna follow that, but that was it, basically.
yeah, I
Putting up
would
a
like to
sign.
see some signs saying conservation area, do not cross over and stuff, but that's coming down the line.
But that's gonna be way down the line,
Yes,
that's what I
yes,
thought, but
yeah.
other than that, that's all, thank you.
Oh, Jean.
Well, I won't try to reiterate everything that was just said about the project. Absolutely 2-to-1. Anything else I find unacceptable, because the plants don't always survive, we all know that. That's gonna make a huge difference to me, but I am interested in what you're gonna do to protect any wildlife in there, including frogs, also our fellow earthlings. And if you were to take that pond out and breeding area, the vernal pond, and then I think you said rebuild another one and seed it with frogs? I mean, I know you were speaking hypothetically. Well, the ones that are dead are still dead. I mean, it's like, is that a moral imperative?
No, so the IVW does not have any indication of any use by amphibians, and I don't think it holds enough water to be a successful breeding site for the amphibians that we would expect to see in southern New England.
Might this year.
I know, it's very wet. So we're, for March, we're double the normal rainfall, and we had a maximum of 18 inches of water in that pond. And it was very turbid, indicating that it's flashy. It's just come up in response to this rain. I don't think there's enough water in there for a frog to survive, frankly. And in fact, what we see a lot of times with things like this, they function as biological sinks, where some frogs see that, they get excited, they do their thing, and then it drains out and they're dead. So this is by no means saying this is no good, we should get rid of this, but you know, so I'm a vernal pool specialist, that's kind of my thing, and I don't see potential vernal pool habitat function in the IVW that we're looking at filling. And you know, I've seen an awful lot of them in this state. So, not that that's a certain thing, but again, I was over there this afternoon, we're in the peak of the season, and there's no indication of any egg masses or no calling, nothing like that. So I don't think we're at risk of harming a local population of frogs with this proposal. But I think that with the proposed replication area, augmenting that nicer BVW, we have a potential of improving potential breeding habitat on the site.
I have one other question. So your new parking areas, if this project goes forward, are going to be paved, is that correct? What about using pervious asphalt? There is such a thing instead of impervious.
We could absolutely consider doing that. I mean, it is a seasonal type use. I was looking back at our client to see if he'd be amenable to pervious pavement.
We discussed
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I'm always cautious with using pervious pavement, especially in a sandy subsoil type situation, because that does tend to clog pores. But I think in this case, if we're not using the parking lot in the winter, and the sanding and salting operations are at a bare minimum, if at all, that may be a consideration to use. And if we were to do that, I would probably look to eliminate that underground Coltech infiltration system, since you have the infiltration capability over the entire surface of the pavement instead.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Kwame.
I just had a question with the fence, the height. I don't know, and I couldn't see it on the plan, or maybe I couldn't read it properly, if the height was there.
When I imagined it, I suggested it to our team as a way to stop amphibians from moving toward the parking. So I was thinking a 12-inch to 18-inch thing. You know, So that was where my brain was.
Oh, okay, the skunks and the raccoons could go and the squirrels, but not the ones that have to crawl on the ground, okay.
Yeah,
That-
but I think that detail is entirely flexible.
Yeah. Because 18 inches could be easily walked over by humans.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was
I'm
I was
sorry,
thinking
all
about
those questions
amphibians.
I-
Oh, no, that was my only question.
We'd be very, very open to suggestions here to see what it is you're looking for.
David Darling with Waterways. Ultimately, probably my long-term goal would be to fence the site in to keep people out on off hours. So that would, at that point, be a 5 to 6 foot fence. So if the board sees that as a better fence option, I'm completely
Okay.
open to it.
Thank you. All right. Autumn.
Thank you. This was definitely a very detailed notice of intent that we've received. But just per Denise's comment, I would also like to see the replication plans. Thank you.
Jessica.
Is it common or uncommon to replicate on someone else's property?
I'll take that question, and Taylor or Matt, you can chime in. So I don't want to give ratios or percentages. It has happened. It's not the norm, but I've seen it happen. It's probably 10 to 15 times in various locations throughout my 18 years of practice, but the site is unfortunately very, very tight, as you know. So, and that's not only on the environmental issues, that is on everything, which is why we use off-site parking and everything else now over at the job lot, and we're going to be using Wendy's, et cetera. So when you have a challenging site like this that's seasonal, it's a very, very unique piece. It's the only water park other than Six Flags and the indoor one in Berkshires, I forget the name of it. I know they're building one down the Cape, but it's the only one of its kind in the state. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but I think it has happened. It's not the norm.
So are you contemplating a lease or a purchase of the abutter's land, or how will you ensure that this stays, that there's continuity when you don't control the property?
So I'm going to let David Darling speak to that, but what I would say as to the environmental area that we're talking about, there would be a conservation restriction recorded to the board's liking, recorded against that specific meets and bounds description of that area, forever restricting it from development, et cetera.
So great question, and I met with the adjacent owner who has had a long-standing association with Waterways. And so he owns a lot of various properties in the Wareham and Cape Cod areas, based out of Hyannis. Really nice gentleman, Gil Woods. And the conversation that we had was, let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's see what the parameters would be and what we would need to do to get the approval. And then he and I can figure out the business side of things to determine how to move best forward. So it'd most likely either be a license, a lease, or a purchase. It's an unusable piece of property for him in any way, shape, or form currently, given the BVW. I'm learning a whole lot here, by the way. Given the BVW, and so for him, there really isn't a reason to hang on to it. There's no development potential for any of that area that we're discussing. So it would be something that I would need to work out with him on the business side of things, but when we brought him this plan, which was, we developed without really talking to him, I tried getting a hold of him, and once I did, he said, I think we'll figure something out, but let's get the Conservation Commission path forward first, and then we can get into the nitty-gritty between him and I.
Thank you. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Donna.
I just appreciate the detail and the conscientiousness that you're bringing to this plan and look forward to seeing it develop. No questions.
Joseph.
Again, I appreciate all the detail in this one. Denise took it home with a lot of the questions I was going to ask, but I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Okay. Sandy's turn. Purchased the land in '22. Were you aware that let me get my note out. September 5th, 2018, the site was given a violation for the water body, the isolated water body, and was told to do a full restoration around it. Well, I've never seen so many weeds. You never know that there was a restoration required around that wetland. It is there now, but you wouldn't tell what trees or bushes had been planted since 2018 because it's never been maintained. Still a tremendous amount of trash in the area, and you're right, that water looks pretty sad. It's dark and, I don't think anybody would want to spend any time in it, but there was a major violation back in August, September 2018. It required a full restoration of the plan. Ta-da. So what I was thinking is that, yes, you're going to do something to replicate the wetlands. I want that restoration area replicated.
So,
I mean,
I understand.
the old prior owner was told to do it, they did it, and neglected it. But I don't want that ability to restore land lost.
Sure, and that makes perfect sense. I know that when we first started this project, Josh and I had a conversation about, and I know Josh was just coming on board as well, saying that I think there was a prior violation. I did some research on your meeting minutes, which are not scrollable, so I had to literally go through each meeting minute and reading them all, and I was able to find those, and it appeared to me that there was, as you said, a violation, Madam Chair, and then there was some sort of discussion about restoration, and then it kind of just, I couldn't find exactly what was required. It kind of just tailed off. But the entire IV, and I have to really let Matt talk to this, but the entire IVW is going away, which would have been any area that is restored, and now it's going to be reconstructed as a BVW. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah.
So everything that was there, that was damaged, that was restored, is now going to be taken away and recreated as a more protected wetland in the area shown. Did I explain that right?
I think so, yep.
If that makes any sense.
So, all right, I'm just trying to think. The idea is we identified the wetlands back then, and then we expanded it for restoration because of the violation. I'm trying to think of anything.
Is there a plan or something like
Yeah,
that we could look at?
Would you, this is here, I will let you make a photocopy
Appreciate it.
of the plan, the preparer of the plan, if someone wants to take a copy of that corner.
Wonderful.
Yeah, here, take it with you and take whatever copy you need of it, but that's the plan that we used back in September 2018 for the restoration of that land. You talked, I was concerned about I had given Josh all these documents that I had found in my paperwork. I keep a lot of documents.
I hear you.
And, yeah, I was concerned about the little critter fence, and I like the idea of a taller fence. And I do like the idea of a pervious parking lot, since you won't be sanding it for salt and winter-wise, so it won't get very dirty, and maybe we can put a requirement every so many years to vacuum it to keep it pervious, because it will continue to get dirt from the road and tires and stuff like that, so that's something that vacuum it and keep it usable. And that way, by doing it that way, you don't have to do your stormwater restoration project that looked very expensive to do. You know, little trade-off here and there. And I'm trying to think, did I have any other notes? Yeah, I mean, the water looks pretty sucky. I guess no other way to put it. And in the place where you're going to put the replenishment, there is a mound around that bordering vegetated wetland. Will you be removing it to make it a more level area? Because right now, it's being mounded off, dammed off, I don't know what else to call it, but there is raised land around that wet area.
Yeah, I think that's a good opportunity for your part of the restoration plan for that buffer zone area.
Mm-hmm.
Is to grade that out so it's a more natural
flow of water.
Yeah.
'Cause I went to the site shortly after a rainstorm, and this prior parking area was nothing but mud, and I wasn't going to put my car through that, because I end up washing it if I did. And so it's always been a flooded area. Even though they parked on it for summers, there was always puddled and muddy and stuff like that. So it seems to have taken the rainwater and not seep it in, it sort of held on to it. Must be some type of, clay or something to prevent it from seeping in.
I
Maybe
think
too
Taylor
hard-
could
maybe
speak to
too
it,
hard
but
of a soil.
We
compaction.
did do test pits, and it didn't come up as hard pan or anything like that. It came up as generally sand, which you would expect to find in Wareham.
Yeah, and I was surprised it didn't.
Right.
Years of parking will
I think
probably
that's it. It became
compaction.
hard
Yeah.
to the point that it didn't act like real sand.
Yeah. So there's an opportunity to restore that to a more,
Disturb it and make it,
to disturb it and make it more,
Yeah.
more natural.
so it's no longer concrete.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the pavement section of really any pavement, whether it's porous pavement or regular asphalt, is going to be, 12 to 15 inches anyway. So you're going to be excavating that out
Yeah.
and putting down new base and everything for that.
And so you'd be excavating the bordering vegetated area in order to do the plantings and stuff like that? To disturb the hard sand that's there now.
Yeah, but that's not bordering vegetated wetland. That's outside of that.
Outside.
Yeah.
But you'd be planting it.
Right, and I think that we'd have to scarify and loosen that.
Thank you.
Compacted.
That's the word I was looking for, as opposed to excavating it.
Scarify.
Scarifying,
Yeah.
like a
Exactly.
cat scratching.
Precisely.
Okay, I think that does it for me at this particular point. I just wanted you to be aware that this site has come before the commission before. We did require restoration because of the violations into the wetland, and it's just amazing how much trash is still there. Yeah, that was disappointing to see that piece of land had been let go. And so, Mr. Darling, you only picked it up in '22, so it happened before you. All right, so I was going to ask Josh to comment, or should I ask the public? I'll go to the public first. What would you like? Is there anybody online or in the audience would like to comment on this project at this time? Okay, Josh, your recommendation? You're going to return it to me, aren't you?
I'm sorry?
My plan?
Yes.
Well, Taylor, why don't I take a photocopy?
Do you have an electronic?
Oh, that'd be great, Josh, thank you.
Perfect.
I was going to take a picture, but that's even better. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, I'll email it to you. I'm sorry I missed a lot of your presentation due to our technical difficulties. I think what you're looking for tonight was to gauge the board on how receptive they would be to your potential project. Right? I think tonight you're probably looking for a continuance.
Yes.
And I think there's still a lot of things that I'd like to see, before I actually give an official opinion. What the vegetation and the replanting plan looks like, the grading plan for the site. I think you guys already understand probably what I'm looking for based on the comments tonight and getting the opinion from the board.
I agree.
So my recommendation would be a continuance.
Yes, and as you mentioned, that you get some feeling from this board before you go in and put some more time and effort into giving us much more detail regarding this restoration component of the project.
We very, very much appreciate that. It's not always like this. Shooting in the dark sometimes, you really are.
I think you're the first time you've come before Wareham.
I am.
Yes.
I am. Well, it's nice, I got to come down here more often, actually.
And I'll take you for a ride in my Hellcat.
Mine isn't the Hellcat. It's just the 392.
Yes, sorry.
When we meet again, I would very much like to understand the business arrangement that you come to, just because you end up with the benefit of the approval without the burden, right? So I want to understand that relationship and how that works.
Sure. I'm sure our client will contact the owner, let him know what happened at the board this evening, and discuss parameters.
Yeah, and if we don't come to one, it'd be contingent on bringing
And, yeah, that would be helpful for those.
Now that we are understanding of a path forward, I can have a more conducive meeting with him. Once the team gets a plan of complete action, then I can sit down with him and go through it.
And I definitely like the idea of a conservation restriction on this property that would hold it undeveloped regardless of who owns the land. Yeah,
Yep.
so that's a very nice, I like that.
Yeah, so that's all the things I need to bring in front of him and discuss.
Okay, anything else? When would you gentlemen like to consider a continuance until?
30 days, please, Madam Chair? Or around there?
So that'd be I was gonna say first meeting in April, May then?
All right,
May 1st.
May 1st? A second?
First.
Yeah.
Was it
May
first?
1st?
All right. May Day, all right.
Sorry, I heard a May what? 1?
May 1st.
May, sorry.
Oh, May Day.
All right.
Recommend to continue to May 1st?
Second?
I have a motion to continue until May 1st. I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so it's 600. We're continued until May 1st, and
Thank
thank
you.
you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And thanks to Amanda.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll get it. As long as they're the important ones. Thank you. I'll put the car in quiet mode on the way out.
No, I'm in the GTI tonight, so it's all right.
Do you have a Hellcat? Do you have a Hellcat?
The family does,
Oh,
yes.
that's beautiful. I knew I loved this.
The apertures,
Purple.
openings, yeah, holes.
Take you up on
Holes in
your
the
offer.
dirt, apertures, openings, apertures, like I can't, it's called an aperture.
All right,
Aperture. Aperture.
next hearing.
It's misspelled.
Okay. This is a request for a notice of intent for Jason T. Nelson, trustee, 8 over Jordan Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, construction and maintenance of a new 4-bedroom, single-family home on piles with the deck, stairs, elevated AC, generator units, a Title V sewage disposal system, a gravel driveway, associated utilities, and all grading, landscaping, and associated appetites. Is that spelled right?
I think it's misspelled. I'm looking at it, I'm Googling it.
Don't know what that
Unless
last
it's some
word
new
is.
word that,
I'm sorry, I don't know what that last word.
I think it's
Apputensins?
supposed to be apertures, like.
Well, anyway, associated something.
in the dirt.
Okay.
Appurtenances.
Appurtenances, okay.
Appurtenances.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and what does that mean?
I think it means,
Miscellaneous things?
It's a catch-all for everything else.
Thank you.
Catch-all, okay. Map 20, lot 1019-G, 8 over Jordan Road, Wareham, Mass.
Okay, thank you. And who's here to represent this project?
My name's Lori MacDonald. I'm a wetland scientist with Cape and Islands Engineering.
Same fast.
Okay, Laura, you're up. Explain the project, please.
If I stand up, is that going to be an issue?
They're going to have a problem hearing you.
Okay.
We can put the plan on the screen. Give Josh a second. Can I ask a question before we, are all 4 of these houses exactly the same type thing?
Basically, yeah.
Virtually, so if we say we want wells, stormwater wells on all of them, we can just say ditto?
Yes.
Okay.
That sounds good.
All right.
So our client, Jason T. Nelson, is proposing to construct a single-family home. That's 4 bedrooms on piles within land subject to coastal storm flowage. In particular, the flood velocity zone and an AE zone. So if you can see, the brown area is the limits of the house with decking. Like I said, will be set on piles with the lower elements of the home set above 2 feet above the velocity zone. A proposed gravel driveway just below that brown area is also a part of the project, and a new septic system, which is a Title V sewage disposal system with a IA fast denitrification system. The septic system has been set far back towards the back of the property, outside the velocity zone, but inside the AE zone, and it will be a mounded system with the 5 feet of overdigging, and the bottom elevation of the leaching system will be at least 5 feet above the groundwater. The existing site itself is right now just a hay field. It's been used in the past for agricultural purposes. So there's, and it's very, very flat, so there'll be little to no change in elevations or vegetation on the site. We will be installing sedimentation and erosion controls. That's the yellow lines shown on this plan, which are both north and south of the proposed house. All the septic system features will be tied down and bolted. The covers will be bolted so that they won't be taken up by the velocity zone. I don't know. Basically, the disturbance within land subject to coastal storm flowage is approximately 18,730 square feet. That's just the disturbance area. Most of that area will be restored after construction is complete, leaving approximately 2,122 square feet, or 3.5% of the lot covered by house, garage, and additions. And this particular lot is a 60,000 square foot lot.
You said a garage?
No, no garage.
I thought I heard.
No, parking, no garage.
Okay.
Parking will be underneath the dwelling, or on the side of the dwelling.
Someplace on their driveway.
Right, right.
Okay. All right. Jessica, questions,
Can you come back to me?
if I can remember. Autumn,
Could you please inform me of what you're going to use for the erosion control?
So I think at this point, we were either considering a hay bale with silt fence or a sediment stop. I don't think we actually called it out, but that can be specified by the Conservation Commission. Yeah, I don't think we actually specified what we were proposing in this particular design. We just specified erosion and sedimentation controls. But we can do hay bale or straw bale with silt fencing, or we can do a sediment stop, or
a wattle.
fiber rolls, right, yeah.
Yeah, we see a lot of straw wattles.
Straw wattles, yep.
But again, up to the commission for us
Yeah,
to.
I mean, we have, hay bales looks pretty bad after a while, and the silk fence doesn't always hang up. I think the idea of, we'll ask Josh what he would recommend for the site, because hay bale always ends up having weeds.
Yeah, you get invasives
Yeah,
occasionally with those.
Right, so yeah, it's
Yep.
better to use straw anyways.
Yeah.
Like a salt hay or salt straw. But the wattles tend to be really effective, and especially in this particular case, because the site is flat, so you're really not gonna see any erosion or overland flow.
And
So
it's easier for the critters to get over it.
Say
It's
again?
easier for the critters to get over it.
Correct, yep.
Yeah,
yep.
I'm sorry, anything else, Autumn?
That was all, thank you.
Okay.
Kwame?
Where's the leaching field again? I'm sorry.
Leaching field is way in the back. It's that green
Oh,
highlighted
okay, I
area.
didn't see that over there, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we
okay. Perfect.
we placed it outside the velocity zone. It's still in land subject to coastal storm flowage, only the AE zone, not the velocity zone, so.
Yeah, you staked the house out, thank you, but you didn't stake the leaching field.
So
It was out there in the distance. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, Jean.
I just had one small question. I'm looking at the plan and trying to see, is there going to be a paved driveway going into this,
it's gonna be a gravel driveway.
a gravel driveway?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have left it up to the homeowner to decide whether to have gravel underneath the home or concrete. It's up to them.
Okay.
But the actual, anything outside the house footprint will be either lawn, vegetated area, or the gravel driveway.
Okay, because I was wondering, when I was out there looking at the properties, that the road over Jordan Road, the way it was paved, is that impervious or pervious pavement?
It's impervious.
Okay,
It's not pervious,
it's not pervious,
Right.
okay.
impervious.
And
I've got to look back in the records, but there was something said when that was paved, that was going to be pervious?
An existing order of condition and it's supposed to be.
It was supposed to be pervious, it was in order of
but
condition.
that's another company.
It is a
outs-
different thing, but that's why I was thinking, here comes more of it. Would that also be pervious, except the one that was supposed to be pervious is impervious, so we'll have to address that elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm not familiar of how they
Okay.
constructed
It's
the
an-
roadway. It looked just like asphalt,
Yeah,
so
it is.
impervious.
I couldn't tell, looking at an asphalt, if it was pervious or impervious.
Yeah.
But
Okay, thank you.
that's another discussion for another order of conditions. Anything else, Paula Jean?
No, thank you.
Michael?
I did have one concern earlier that was already answered though, but any issues with, or concerns rather, about, say, runoff from roofs or drainage getting into possibly any water down there or ponding? Right now, it's very, very wet down there, and those lands do tend to get wet down there. And I guess this is for all the lands, and even for an upcoming project as well, which we'll discuss in a bit.
So the question is, I'm sorry.
Any concerns with, say, drainage runoff from the roofs or
Not
whatever.
really, because it's a loamy sand. We did do some soil testing, so it's very well-drained soils in the area from what we checked. It's a very small footprint compared to the rest of the site. I mean, it's only 3% or so of the site that will be developed with the home. The rest will be gravel or vegetated lawn or.
And when you mean the rest, you mean, and when you mean the rest, you mean all the other homes or
No, I
the
mean the rest of the site.
rest of the sites?
Yeah.
All right,
This particular site.
that particular site, all right. Okay, that's all for now, go ahead.
Okay. Denise?
My concern with the project was access for the people who live down the road from this, in terms of your storage of materials, trucks delivering things, trucks being parked on this very narrow road, blocking people from actually being able to get to their homes past the causeway down below. I think we need to make sure that that does not happen.
Right, so storage of materials and equipment will be on the property, within the limits of the property. We will not be able to block the roadway. It is a private road. It'll be up to the contractor to make sure that people are able to access their homes.
Right,
And,
because we don't want that to be an issue for the people down below.
yeah, no, understood.
That was my main concern.
Okay, Joe?
I have no questions on this one.
Donna?
No questions.
I remember. Jessica?
No question.
Okay, where's the water table? I thought I heard 5 feet back where the septic system is.
So, yeah, the requirement is there has to be 5 feet of separation between the lower elevation of the leaching field and the groundwater.
Will there be issue of, I'm going to ask for dry wells to take the runoff from the house,
Okay.
so that it is controlled and doesn't just go out into the field. Now, what do they plan to do with the land around them?
Say again, I'm
What
sorry.
do they plan to do with the land? Are we going to see green grass, or are they going to, is there, right now, I don't see anything in the plan as to say what happens to the field around this particular house.
So we have not developed a landscaping plan for this particular project. We've left it up to the applicant to decide how to plant it. It is something, if the commission requires, we could submit it to them for review prior to construction, if that's a condition that they wanted to add to the order.
I'm thinking, Josh, if we approve this particular plan as is, can we have control of what is planted around it? Can we ask for another notice when the homeowner takes possession or somebody starts modifying the landscape? Or is it something we condition now?
I mean, if landscaping plan is something that you want, I would condition it now. I wouldn't leave it up to the homeowner to come back and amend it.
I mean, I certainly don't want this to become a fairway green. I don't want all of this developed into grass that requires nitrogen to maintain. And that's just me.
Me too. No, that's a concern, Sandy.
Yeah. Well, we know we're going to ask for a continuance, I believe, because I would like to see the dry wells or whatever you have planned for stormwater runoff retention in that area. And maybe a stab at what might be cleared for a lawn or I'm sure probably something between the house and the road, there might be something there, but nothing beyond that. Because I certainly don't want it all, it might be required to be, we might say it gets hayed twice a year or something like that, because it has been. Of course, it's not like the other lot 6 that has been recently mowed. Between 4 and 8, you can see that that piece of land has recently been cut.
Really?
Mowed, yeah. As opposed to 8 and 10, which is tough to walk on without tripping.
Really, okay.
Because of all the vegetation in it. Josh, anybody in the audience would like to comment on this? If not, I'd ask Josh for his input.
I will just defer a moment of my time to one of the engineers, Mark, who can speak to the roadway.
Now?
Hi, good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Again, Mark Dibb with Cape and Islands Engineering. I did not attend because I am going to hop on another Zoom for another town, but I have a little bit of time. I think I'm going to try to answer these questions kind of in relation to all 4 projects because I will have to jump offline. Number 1, regarding, I can confirm that the asphalt, it's a separate project, but the asphalt that was put down on Over Jordan Road is porous asphalt. If you look really close, you'll see there's larger aggregate in there. And when it comes time to a certificate of compliance, we can submit paperwork to reflect that. But I just wanted to answer that question. I think we can definitely outline areas on all these projects that, like a lawn area, a natural area, the intent, I guess, behind the remaining portions of the site. And regarding runoff, question back to the commission, would gravel drip strips be an option for some of these properties? Groundwater is pretty high in the location, like of this particular house. It's about 3 feet down. We could put some shallow leaching in. I'm wondering if potentially a gravel drip strip along, 2-foot wide strip along roof lines could be an alternative to underground runoff. But I think those were the 3 things I just wanted to touch base on, and I'll turn it back over to the commission. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I heard a question about what the erosion control should be. I would say, straw over hay because of the chance of there being no invasive species in it. And then if you're looking for wattles versus silt fence, I think that's what the other concern was. sometimes it depends on what the wattle is actually filled with, because normally what you see with those type of things is the project's all done, they come through with a box cutter, cut it open, and, you know, just let what was inside the wattle remain. So sometimes that's a concern versus wattles versus silt fence. At least you know that the silt fence is picked up.
So you're saying you want straw and silk fence?
I think that makes them.
Straw bales as opposed to hay bales. One of them's got seeds in them and one.
Yeah, I think it's maybe less of a conversation for these projects just because of how flat the grade is for a lot of these. I don't think erosion is going to be a very big issue
Okay.
at any of these projects, but I think it's maybe something the commission can explore and maybe establish some rules and regs for moving forward.
All right.
That way there's no question when an applicant comes in. As far as the gravel drip strip goes, I mean, they're already proposing the gravel driveway and potentially, you know, gravel underneath the house, so the gravel drip strip could make sense. It's not something the commission has leaned toward in the past. You guys do like your dry wells, but, yeah, it
but-
could work. And again,
Most of the times we ask for dry wells, there isn't that water so close to the surface as it is down there.
right, yeah, I mean, you can't have a high water table if you're gonna put a dry well in. So, yeah, I think.
Doesn't quite work, does it?
Right, so gravel drip strips could work here.
Within
Again,
2 feet of the dwelling.
Yeah, normally it's right up against the dwelling, 2 feet out. But, and then I think the commission is looking for a continuance to see those on a revised plan.
I think I did ask if there was anybody in the audience or online, and okay.
Nope.
Anything else? If not, the next hearing date is for what?
April 24th, I think, or
No.
26th.
417.
Or 17th.
Or 17? So, Laura, 17th, all right?
That's good, yep.
Okay, so how about a motion, please?
Motion to continue till April 17th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, we're continued. Next one, please, and I'm not going to say the word ditto. Okay, I think we're on to 10.
Yes. So request for a notice of intent for Jason T. Nelson, trustee, 10 over Jordan Road, Lot H, Wareham, Mass. 02571. Construction and maintenance of a new 4-bedroom, single-family home on piles with the deck, stairs, elevated AC and generator units, a Title V sewage disposal system, a gravel driveway, associated utilities, and upgrading landscaping and associated appurtenances. Did I say that right?
Appurtenances.
Appurtenances, okay. Map 20, lot 1019-H10, over Jordan Road, Lot H, Wareham, Mass.
Okay.
Lori McDonald, a wetland scientist with Cape and Islands Engineering. I'm representing the applicant, Jason T. Nelson, for this project. And this is a single-family home construction on piles. It will be a 4-bedroom home with the bottom elements of the home set above the floodplain velocity zone. And all other items such as ACs and other electrical units will also be set above the velocity zone elevation, 2 feet above it. Also, with the project, there's a gravel driveway and parking area, and a Title V septic system with, again, an IA fast denitrification system. The septic system will be set of the property outside the velocity zone. Actually, the leaching field will be set in the back of the property outside the velocity zone in the AE zone. It will be a raised system with the bottom elevation of the leaching field at least 5 feet above the groundwater table. The system will be overdug by 5 feet and backfilled with suitable soil so that leaching can occur. All septic system related items will be tied down to avoid floating during flood conditions. And the underside of the structure will be either gravel or concrete, depending on what the homeowner decides. The resource areas, in addition to the entire property being located within land subject to coastal storm flowage, part of the property is located within, or part of the work is located within 100 feet of a BVW located along this green line shown here, just north of the proposed home. So we have, here, this pink line is the 100-foot buffer zone. So we are proposing to install sedimentation and erosion controls to protect the BVW from any work-related erosion and sedimentation. And again, we're leaving up the types of sedimentation and erosion controls up to the commission as far as what you would prefer to see. The project will result in disturbance of 17,378 square feet of land subject to coastal storm flowage. And after construction is complete, 2,122 square feet of the property will be developed as home or additions. And that's 3.5% of 60,000 square feet, which is the lot area.
Questions? Joe?
None for me on this one.
Donna?
I'm wondering if, because there's coastal, this is a coastal flowage area, is there any consideration of the time of year that the construction is done for any of this? Does that have any implication?
Normally none unless there's animals involved.
I would say probably not, especially if, I would say if we're seeing coastal storm flowage on these lots, we have a big problem in Wareham.
It's
where this wouldn't probably be necessary
This
for
is
a
a
time of year.
minimal problem in comparison? Thank you, I have no questions.
Jessica? Autumn?
Will the existing chain link fence remain, or is that being removed?
That will remain.
Okay, thank you.
Kwame?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
No questions, thank you.
Michael?
Mine was already answered earlier, no questions, thank you.
Denise?
Your last name?
MacDonald,
M-A-C,
M-A-C,
okay.
small d.
Just wanted to be sure. And then when I was looking at the plans that you gave me, Josh, this says 5 and 10 over Jordan Road. We're not talking about 5 over Jordan Road, right? Just 10?
So we're talking about number 8 and number 10 over Jordan Road.
Because this has 5 and 10 on it. That's what-
That is the
This is the
A&R
plan.
plan.
So this was a plan, that went before zoning to define lot lines.
Okay, my question for you, I guess it's more to Josh. September 7th, 2022, we approved a request for determination for Nelson Realty Trust. This is the exact same property. Does that become void?
I would imagine so, yeah.
Any action, it is an RDA, any action on it? Same company?
No, normally with RDAs, it's, you get permission from the commission and either you do the work or you don't.
Okay, so even though it had been done, we're ignoring them because this now replaces it?
I would say so, except that the RDA is still open. So I would say that maybe it doesn't replace it.
So maybe keep an eye, Nelson Realty Trust should reach out to us to close the one on 8 and the one we have on 10.
I mean, there's really no requirement for them to.
Okay.
Basically, they're opening 2 permits and we've approved 2 permits.
Oh,
Whichever way they want to go with it is
Okay,
still up to
because
them.
the one in 22 was 3-bedroom, this is now a bigger 4-bedroom, virtually the same footprint. Okay, I just
Yeah.
happened to say, I've looked at this property before, and I went digging, and I found a old hearing on it. Okay. So whatever we said for 8 pertains to 10, and I'm gonna say the same thing for 4 and 172, but we'll get to that. Anybody want to comment on this project online or the audience? If not, I think we're looking for a continuance until 4/17.
You're just about to answer my question, so I recommend to continue till April 17th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 600. We are continued for this project. So next one, please.
Okay, on the request for notice of intent for Richard H. England for over Jordan Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, construction and maintenance of a new 4-bedroom, single-family home on piles with a deck, stairs, elevated AC, and generator units at Title V sewage, disposal system, gravel driveway, associated utilities, and all grading, landscaping, and associated appurtenances. I hope I said that right. The existing shed will remain. Map 20, lot 1019/CZ, 4 over Jordan Road, Wareham, Mass.
Thank you. And who's here representing that project, please?
Lori McDonald, wetland scientist with Cape and Islands Engineering, and with me tonight is the applicant, Richard England. Richard, if you could introduce yourself.
Rick England, and I'm currently at 4 over Jordan Road. And I've been in that whole area since 1987. So if you want to know anything about the fields and what they've done since then, I can probably give you a pretty good idea.
Okay.
Some of the grasses, because there's a lot of actual native fescue that's in those fields.
Yes, I tripped over it all.
Yeah.
I guess before we go on, I'm confused I have a bunch of plans as to where, was your property subdivided in order to bring out 4?
3.
Well, number 4, we're looking at 4 Jordan.
Number 4 is my home, and the lot that we created behind it will also be 4 or 4B or 4 something, because before we purchased the field to the side of me, my
172.
My land was number 4 and went all the way out to 6. So,
Okay.
So there's a number missing now that we changed the,
So you've taken the backside of your property
yes,
for this new dwelling?
185 feet off of Over Jordan, and then we went across to the new field that we purchased.
Behind 172 that you
Yes.
purchased? It got very confusing, I'm saying to myself.
Got it.
So I figured, okay, you took the backside and that's where the house is. Okay, so back up again for the same, you can say ditto, but that's all right. The same thing, just that the septic system is closer to the house this time.
So this is a new single-family 4-bedroom home on piles with the bottom floor, elements elevated at least 2 feet above the floodplain elevation or flood velocity zone elevation. Also included are decking, a gravel driveway. There's 2 sheds here that are going to remain. Then a gravel path will be extended to the shed that's closest to the road. There's also, again, another septic system, which is a IA fast denitrification system proposed to the back of the property. The leaching field, which is the green rectangle here, will be a raised system with the bottom elevation of the leaching area at least 5 feet above the groundwater elevation. The septic area will be overdug 5 feet in order to make sure suitable soil is brought in and added to the leaching field so that the field will leach appropriately. Like I said, the driveway will be gravel. Underneath the home itself will either be gravel or concrete, depending on what the homeowner prefers. During construction, erosion controls will be installed around the property. That's this yellow line, and they'll be maintained. And after construction is complete, the site will be stabilized. The actual impacts on site are 20,400 square feet of disturbance within land subject to coastal storm flowage. That's the area within the sedimentation controls. And after construction is complete, the site will be developed with 2,761 square feet of house, and that's 4.52% of the lot, which is 60,000 square feet.
All right. Joan, questions?
There's none for me on this one.
Donna?
No questions.
Jessica?
No questions.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean, you're going to ask about the trees, aren't you? There's trees on that property, but I don't see anything on the plan indicating which ones will be cleared. That's normally your question,
That
Paula
is,
Jean.
were you gonna just clear cut the trees there, or were you gonna selectively remove? I did go to the site, but we looked at all four.
Typically, we like to selectively cut. It's actually up to the property owner. We didn't discuss that, but we can.
We don't want to cut them all. We don't want to do a clear cut or anything like that. We have no intention of that, just enough to
That's a good start.
for building the home and the septic as well. There's, what's in there.
They're not very good trees.
Uh-huh.
They're not very good trees.
They're the ugly native, I don't even know if they are native.
They're hardwood, but they're not looking too
Yeah,
good.
the
I'm
cherry,
sorry.
the cherry with the little black berries that make a mess everywhere. So that's mostly what's there.
It's like,
There's only two trees that were actually there after Hurricane Bob.
large hardwoods.
The rest of them are all grown.
Yeah.
Were there any hollies in there? Now, I know.
Got some hollies, there's some nice ones.
Yeah, I'd like to see them stay.
If anything, we would move them if they're in the way. We don't want to, we want to.
I'm trying to picture which one lot from the other. We started out with the one in the front that turns out it's a pet cemetery in there, and it's crawling with a little holly, the one out by the road.
Okay,
And going
there is a
in,
pet
yeah.
cemetery up front, yes.
Yeah, and I wondered if you have it, I would have to look at it again and see how much holly there is there, and if you're going to destroy that or keep as much as you can. Yes, this gentleman.
Again, if there's anything that's too large, but right now they're not, they're all pretty small, so
Yeah.
Actively move them.
They could be relocated.
We could rotate them this spring and get, move them out of the way of where the house is gonna be. Because we'd love to keep them, so we don't wanna, the native ones are good, the deer don't eat those.
The deer don't touch them, and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Anything else?
On that note, we've already planted over 14 to 20 fir trees throughout the property in the last year and a half. We will be.
I'm sorry, can you identify yourself for the
I'm
record?
Trevor England, I'm Ricky's son.
Yeah.
One of them?
So we have transplanted multiple maples throughout the property, and we plan on putting those up to create a better buffer zone. As you know, the land is very native. It's tons of fescue, tons of native grasses. There's no plan to just disrupt any of that. There's a plan to add more to it. We would love a nice buffer zone. We'd love to have privacy. So there's no intent to take out more trees than needed.
Terrific. No scorched earth.
No. I'm a golf professional, and I believe in the environment more than anything, and I think we need to do better that way.
Great, thank you.
Michael?
You mentioned erosion control. Are they going to be the same measures as the other one, straw and hay bale? Was
Yeah,
it straw and silt fencing, rather?
We'll leave it to the discretion of the commission. It's a very flat site with limited chance of runoff in this particular case, so straw bales with silt fencing or straw wattles are appropriate.
All right, that's all I had for now. Thank you.
Denise?
I really loved the lion that was overlooking the Little Pet Cemetery, guarding everything.
Well, you guys were out there.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, as an owner, I just want you to make sure that you're aware that the contractor really needs to make sure that there's access on that road for people who live over across the causeway. No blocking of the road so that they can't get in and out of their property.
It is, before he tarred it, it was a lot narrower than it is now.
Yeah, I know, because
So he's actually opened it up some when he put in the
Right.
asphalt. I recently I did a little wall in my backyard the other day, and the contractor, I think when he was out there taking pictures, his trucks were out there, and he didn't want to drive out there today because of the field. But he did park alongside of over Jordan Road, and cars had access.
so that you're aware of it, and
Yeah.
so there isn't a
Yeah.
concern for the people who live
We
down
don't want to
below.
ruin the road either, as far as any
Right.
large equipment going on, and it's a brand-new road. So I think when we first start the project for this house, we're probably gonna be coming through the field on that side and coming in versus trying to disturb the
Road, okay,
the
thank
existing
you.
asphalt.
Thank you.
Rick, in the backyard, it looked like there's a bunch of tubing, maybe a greenhouse or something between one of the sheds.
Greenhouse that my wife and I had, and that's coming down, I mean, or we're gonna try
So
to
that,
reuse it somewhere.
but the materials, is there a concrete pad there? I didn't get on your property to look, so it's just dirt. So it will be, it will go, but the shed next to it will stay?
The shed next to it's gonna stay, yes. It becomes his. It's my wife's she shed.
It's very nice.
Yes, and Crystal and I have been members of the garden club for close to 25 years now, so, yes, so, yep. Okay, any comments on this for us?
Yeah, so we had met out there, maybe 8 months ago now. We were discussing the road, and one of the conditions of the road was that we identified, trees that had to be taken out for the expansion of the road and that they get replanted. Are any of the trees that we decided to keep going to be affected by this project?
No.
Okay, so,
There are some there that are under the wires.
Right.
That would like to take down. There's a couple of oaks and a couple of those wild cherries that are in the way of the wires. And so those are closer to the road, but they won't affect the road.
okay. Gotcha. Understood. Thank you.
No. Question for you, what do you plan to do for a yard?
It's very little impact as possible from what you currently already see. Like we said before, there's no plan to take down, very minimal trees. I love my privacy. I would love to have a little bluegrass somewhere in there, but nothing crazy. I don't want to work hard.
A little putting course?
Little Harbor's right next door, so I can walk down the street, yeah.
Okay. I did ask if there's any comment on this. I did. Thank you. Anybody? If not, we're going to continue looking for the drip zone, and what else are we continuing this for?
Lawn limits, like you had requested limits of lawn for the other
Yep.
property.
Like I've done on the other, yes, some idea of lawn activities, so we can say whether or not, you got a hay field, we want you to allow to hay it, or as opposed to plant it and whatever, so.
It's easy to say hayfield, but it's been since 1992 since there was ever hay in that field. It's all
Well,
native grasses now.
The lot next to the one we're talking about right now has recently been cut compared to 8 and 10.
Right, yeah.
And why is that an unbuildable lot?
Which one's that?
The one, number 6, between 4 and 8. The note on this plan says unbuildable lot.
I believe the owner of all the property before that came in front of you or somewhere about the possibility of doing solar for his own purpose.
It was a long time ago, putting for solar out there,
Well,
and
he
he
ran
never.
wires, he had Com Electric come in and redo all the poles and upgrade all the electrical, and that was just done last year.
Yeah, but would planning have said it was not, or zoning said it's not a build, so there could very well be something coming on 6 in the future.
That's not.
It's not our lot, we don't know.
I'm just quite surprised to find something, it's got the right footage. I don't know why it's called not a building. It says not a building lot.
Probably doesn't have the right frontage.
No, it says it's 130.
I don't know,
I mean, okay, so there could very well be a number 6 in the future.
Could be, yeah.
Okay. Anything else? So we're going to continue this until 17?
April 17th.
They just need trip
Yeah, we
I have a motion.
Second.
Continue.
And a second, all in favor? Aye. We're continued into 417. All right, next one, please.
Oh, boy. Okay.
And the same people
Let's
are
see.
going to be up here.
Yeah, this is a request for notice of intent for Richard H. England. This one here says 172 Great Neck Road.
Yep.
Okay, so, and this is in Wareham, Mass. 02571, construction and maintenance of a new 4-bedroom, single-family home on piles with a deck, stairs, elevated AC generator units, Title V sewage disposal system, a gravel driveway, associated utilities, and all grading, landscaping, and associated opportun.
That word.
Yes.
Yeah.
It got me. Map 20, lot 1019/C4 172 Great Neck Road, Wareham, Mass.
Good evening, my name's Lori McDonald, I'm a wetland scientist with Cape and Islands Engineering. I'm representing the applicant, Richard England, who is to my far left, and Trevor England is also present. If you can both introduce yourselves for the record.
Again, Rick England, 4 over Jordan Road. We purchased this property and trying to develop a little bit for my children.
I am Trevor England, I am his son, and I'm just here to oversee some of this project.
Okay, so this is similar to the other projects which the commission has already heard. The project is a 4-bedroom home set on piles with the lowest elevations 2 feet above the flood zone, which is a velocity zone. The entire site is within land subject to coastal storm flowage. In addition to the home, decking, and stairs, we're also proposing a gravel driveway and parking area. Underneath the home, it will either be gravel or concrete pavement. There is a proposed septic system on site, which is a Title V sewage disposal system with an IA fast denitrification system. The system will also be mounded like the others with 5 feet of overdig and backfilled with suitable soil as necessary. The leaching field, the low elevation of the leaching field will be it will be 5 feet above the groundwater elevation on site. Prior to the start of construction, sedimentation erosion controls will be installed around the work limits. The contractor will be required to stay within the confines of the sedimentation controls, and the sedimentation controls will be maintained and monitored during construction. After work is complete, the site will be stabilized and the contractor will remove their equipment. The impacts or disturbances within land subject to coastal storm flowage is 16,000 square feet. And after construction is complete, the lot, which is 61,000 square feet, will be occupied by 2,122 square feet of structure, which is about 3.4% of the lot. With that, I'll turn it back to Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Joe?
There'd be none for me on this one.
Donna?
No questions.
Jessica?
No questions.
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
No questions, thanks.
Paula Jean.
No questions, that one's pretty treeless.
Yes. Michael?
Just like the other ones, the question was already asked, thank you.
Denise?
No questions.
There's a puddle there. There's 2 ponds. That's wetland down, it's very close, that comes up to the side of your property. I mean, that's standing water. Is it there all the time?
Every couple of Aprils. I mean, it's been raining here since June last year. It's been normal.
So you normally don't have that type of standing water?
No.
That tells me your water table's gotta be way up there.
Well, we did the perk test not too long ago, and it came in at 5 feet.
Well, not now.
Yeah, no,
That was 2 weeks
after-
ago.
That was 2
Really?
weeks ago, and after a rainstorm.
We did 6 perk holes, actually, on each property.
Do you plan to fill in these depressions? Level them off?
It would be hard to do that, because then it would go into the other property underneath the fence.
It will come into your yard, yes, into,
Yes.
yes.
So that'd be hard to do, because then it would turn the flow, so, you know, we kinda
Because I
contemplated
think the
moving.
house is out of it. If
Yeah.
I take a look at your furthest east post, it was before I noticed the depression in there. So we're looking at what the yard would be, we're looking at the 2-foot gravel drip around the house. Anybody in the audience like to speak to or for this project? Anybody online have a comment? Josh, your comments?
No comments, just, I guess we're looking for the gravel strip and how the yard is gonna be maintained.
Okay. Still good for the 17th?
Yes.
All right, motion continue till 17th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
abstain. You're continued until 2 weeks. You got a conflict, I think, in 2 weeks. No, Rick?
What's that?
Don't you have a conflict in 2 weeks? You're going to miss a dinner.
17th is my son's birthday, ma'am.
Oh, so you were going to miss the Community Associates meeting anyway.
But I'll have a tan when I come back.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
We have continued hearings. Prime Engineering, I'm done with, yeah, Prime Engineering, 370 County Road. Do we have any, was that it?
Yeah, they requested a continuance to our April 17th meeting. They got new revised calculations from the fire department on how large their access road should be. So they have to address those concerns from the fire department.
So they're good with the 17th?
Yes.
Okay, someone?
Motion to continue till April 17th.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, sorry. Favor, opposed, abstained, 600. Next one is the Michael and Leon Darcy at 2 Seahorse Lane. Anybody here for that project? I know we got a new plan because they changed the
Dave
length
DeVignan
of the
here. You
Seahorse.
can hear me?
Anybody here for that? Yes, online?
Yep.
Okay. Is it Dave?
It is Dave. Dave, go
Yes,
ahead.
hi. Can you hear me?
We
Yep.
can.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commission members. For the record, I'm Dave DeVignan from Schneider, DeVignan, Leone, representing the Dancys. At the last public hearing, we requested a continuance so that we could go to the planning board to get some input on the upgrade of the existing gravel road, which is currently a 1-lane gravel drive, if you will, which services this house and then the next house. We have received positive input from the planning board, and a week ago, we submitted a final revised plan showing actually a shorter road than what we originally had shown. It will now end at the common boundary between my client and the next property. Everybody appears to be happy as far as our client, the neighbor, planning board, and Board of Health. We already have Board of Health approval. So with that being said, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but we are seeking for the commission to close the public hearing and vote positive order of conditions approving the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, it was, I don't know how so much discussion there was to how long that Seahorse Lane was going to be, but that was planning. All right, questions? Joseph?
Can we skip for me?
Donna?
No questions, thank you.
Jessica?
I wasn't here for the first one.
Okay, so Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
No questions, thanks.
Paula Jean?
No questions.
Michael?
None here, thank you.
Denise?
There were no stakes at this site for anything. I couldn't figure out exactly what was going on in terms of where the driveway was going to be located, how wide the driveway was going to become. We talked about widening the road, and I didn't know if it was going to be taking down the trees that were on the left, right-hand side. I didn't know exactly what was going on.
Well, we've been at this site since February 2nd.
Right, and I have
February
not,
7th.
so-
Since you haven't, yeah.
But there's nothing there to indicate.
There's nothing there to indicate what's going on the property.
Didn't I see something for the septic system a while ago? David?
I'm
Thought I
not
had
sure.
seen something.
I don't understand the question, I'm sorry.
The question is, there was nothing to indicate the location of the septic system or the expansion of Seahorse Lane, so we have an idea of the area it was going to be impacting. Is that your question, Denise?
Yes.
Yes.
There were, when you pull into onto the road there, on the right-hand side, there's a wooded area with large trees and everything. You were talking about widening, and I didn't know if you were widening into that and removing trees, or what exactly you were doing.
So, David, the question is, if you have to make the road so much wider to accommodate the emergency and the planning board, the question is, are you taking down trees in order to make it wider?
Yes, we have located the trees on the plan that will be cut and removed. They are within the roadway layout.
I guess Denise is saying she's disappointed that they weren't marked in such a way that we could see them while visiting the site, nor could we find where you're going to put the septic system because they weren't staked. How many trees are we losing, David?
It looks to me on the plan, there's a large tree just below the S that will be removed, and then there's a smaller one further to the east. It might be hard to see, that is right at the bottom of where it says private.
Okay.
So there are two trees that are proposed to be removed.
It looks like you have 5 more right at the very end of the road layout. You can see my cursor.
That one or the big one? That looks like a big.
So are they going out too, the 5 at the end of the road?
They're only going to the end of their property line. They're not going into that dwelling closer to the water. So it's not as long as the first proposed. It's being shortened to the end of the property line.
Yeah, the plan says 5 trees to be removed.
Yeah, that tag is old. It was part of the original layout. If you see the erosion control, the road initially was going to be taken out down to the end of the existing gravel. That finger-like projection is the existing gravel road. Planning will accept a shorter road because the property next door has access to the public way, being Cremisa Road. So I think that's an old tag that said 5 trees. That's a double tree right there that will not be removed.
Anything else?
Just in the future, I'd like to see things staked.
Yeah, I think we could probably get back into the habit of no staking, then we're going to continue, because it's getting to be a little bit more than just every once in a while. It's happening more frequently. But anything else on this? Anybody online or in the audience would like to comment on this project? Josh, your recommendation?
think one of the previous hearings, we had talked about the installation of a dry well. And I'm not sure I see it on the plan.
David, we talked about it.
Yes, it's located to the east of the house. It looks like a leaching trench with chambers.
Thank you.
Yep.
I see your arrow now. Thank you.
Put your arrow on it so everybody else can, see it, that will take the stormwater, the runoff from the house. Anything
I
else?
think that was the only concern we had for the project. So the recommendation would be the issuance of our standard order of conditions.
I motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600.
I motion to approve with the standard order of conditions.
That's the motion.
Second.
I heard it second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. We have 501.
Thank you for your time.
Don't start anything until you get the paperwork from Josh, okay? Thank you, David.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take care.
Oh, wow, we completed 2. Next one, Sandy Beach Associated Point Independence, 14 Cove Street. Is there somebody here for that project?
They are requesting a continuance. They're still giving DEP some more information. So they've requested a continuance to April 17th.
Motion to continue till April 17th.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. We're continued until 4/17. You all saw the note from the Wareham Land Trust regarding this project, and that will be discussed when we have our hearing. Okay, closed hearings. At last meeting, we closed the hearing for Russell McKinnon at 28 Nelson Street. Since then, we have received a request to withdraw the project. Is that my understanding? Is there somebody here? Hi, Julian.
Madam Chair. Hi, Attorney Jillian Morton, 184 Main Street. I was just engaged by the client the day after your hearing. So I rewatched the hearings, so I know that you've closed it, so I'm not going to speak to the project.
Thank you.
But what I would request is that we were able to withdraw at this point instead of having a negative determination and then being barred by altering and me advising him accordingly.
And it's my understanding we are able to accept this request for withdrawal.
That is correct.
Somebody?
A motion to withdraw the project? at
Accept the
20
request.
Accept the request.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor? I'm going to ask around. Autumn? Jester, I'm not going to ask you because you've not been involved in the project at all. Autumn?
Aye.
Kwame?
Aye.
Paula Jean?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Sandy? Aye. 500 to accept
you.
your withdrawal.
501, because you're not
No,
using Jessica.
She didn't vote. Did you want to vote to abstain? She didn't vote. 500.
Thank you.
Okay, so we closed 3. Okay, next one. Oh, we have amended order of conditions. We have Gristfield at 8 Beach Plum Lane. Anybody here for that project?
Yes, Madam Chair, Bob Rogers with GAF Engineering on behalf of the applicant.
Okay.
This request came in just a little over 2 weeks ago. We put it together as quick as we could. It's a request to change a location of stairs off a deck that was approved under the original order of conditions. And then there was an additional request to adjust some stones, add some flat stones to a walking path that goes from the edge of the yard. It's an existing walking path, goes from the edge of the yard down to a set of stairs that goes further down to the beach. I included a letter from Jody and David Gasfriend in with this request for amended order. I staked out the new proposed landing location. I just put a bean pole at the new proposed landing location for the stairs. And I hung a couple of flags at the beginning and at the end of that walkway for any of the commission members that wanted to take a look at it. And so, you know, we've hatched that area. So there wasn't any work originally proposed on that path in the original notice of intent and order of conditions. And, you know, so my advice to them was just that it would only be the minimal amount of, you know, handwork, a shovel and a bar, and maybe take a round stone out and put a flat stone in. So, you know, the important thing to the Gasperons, the most important thing, I think, was, you know, the ability to order the new stairs different from the original approval. There was, you know, it's the contractor, if you've been out there, you know, the project is well underway, and, you know, they want to get going, you know, beginning of the summer. So that's the most important part. And I just say that just in case if there's any concerns that the commission has about working on that path on the coastal beach, then we would remove that from the request. But I tried to word it in such a way that because we're not going to allow, you know, granite steps one after another over there and put it on a crushed stone base and do all that kind of thing under an amended order, and that's not the intent.
It is a pretty steep walkway, isn't it?
It is. I went down it.
Yeah.
It's not that long. I mean, you know, his letter describes, you know, small children and running up and down in there. It's only, I'm looking, 25 feet at the most, and it is uneven, and you can see where they've sort of placed a couple of bluestone, like slate. So, I mean, to me, it would only be acceptable if it's a removing of a, you know, like something that you're just going to trip on and replace it at grade with a stone and not do anything that's going to, you know, just have a potential for erosion. But it's, you know, it's just a neat little haphazard path with natural stone and a few pieces of bluestone.
I will, before I go, I will try again. The existing steps that were approved were there already.
Yes, this was.
And they're in the 30-foot no-work zone, and they existed already.
That's
Now they want to
correct.
put steps on the other side of the deck, also in the 30-foot no-work zone, where it did not exist before. But will they remove the existing steps?
So, yes, correct. So on the upper side of the plan, if you will, the north side of the deck, so we still have the note, remove and dispose of existing deck structure, including stairs and outdoor shower, and so that is the same as the original plan, and except that new stairs were going to go right back in that location. And it just, you know, as he explains in his letter, it was not a good spot to land. It was not so level. There's also, I think, some access underneath that those stairs would have been blocking. And so the requested location is just where there is an existing planting area. And it's, you know, right up against the side of the house.
And it's, okay, I'm going to ask around, because they're going to say it's a 30-foot no-work zone, but that area's already been disturbed because they got 3 or 4 grass plants in that area, so it's not.
There's a little garden with an edge to it.
All right, and there's fewer steps under this proposal, so I'll go around. Jessica. Autumn.
Do we know when the original order of conditions was issued?
Yep.
So I guess in my cover letter.
January 18th, 23.
Okay.
January 23rd, 2023.
Well, we had the hearing on the 18th, and I don't think we continued. So January
Somebody took 5 or 6 days to issue the order.
I know, but it's my notes.
Thank you.
You want to see them?
No,
I get
that's okay. Well,
21 for the record. I get 21 days, so.
I can tell you when we approved them.
Very expeditious.
what material are you using for the erosion control?
So we have erosion controls shown at the break, I guess, but it's straw wall silt fence.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
They're there already because it's under construction.
Okay.
But they do, yeah, they would need to put some down at the bottom of where those stones might be replaced. There's a new line that we're showing down below.
Oh, yeah.
Just to cover that
Anything else,
base.
Autumn?
No, that was all. This was just early days for my interest in Concom, so refreshing.
Kwame?
Oh, hi, Bob.
Kwame, how are you, sir? It's
How
good
you
to see
doing?
you.
Nice to see you. I have no questions.
Paula Jean, can you come back to me?
Spring is sprung and the beard is gone.
That's right, I didn't recognize you.
Next year,
Okay,
or next fall.
next fall.
Michael?
Before we continue, I just want to mention, I have personal connections to 2 folks on the abutters list, Peter Edwards and the Sims, but I have no financial interest in my upcoming comments. Thank you. For the stairs that are going to go down to the beach, as Sandy mentioned, that there's a pretty steep slope heading down there. For more of a handicap issue, I didn't see any issue, anything mentioned about a handrail on the plans. And I did go, and when I did go down there, I did see that the current stairs does have a handrail. Is there going to be a handrail placed on those steps or not?
So, no, we're not proposing to. So there's no, the wood stairs that are further down, so there's no work proposed for those as part of this amended request. And, you know, I just felt like under an amendment, you know, it's very limited as to any additional work. And so, you know, we're not asking for a handrail or anything of that nature. Anything more formal than just resetting some of the stones at grade, in our opinion, would require a new notice of intent.
So wait a minute, so there aren't going to be any steps going, so there aren't going to be any new steps going down to the beach or not?
No. So there's an existing footpath from the edge of the lawn to the beginning of those wooden stairs, right?
So I may have misread it then in my...
Yeah, if you look at the screen, so we've shaded what's the existing footpath that's just got stones at the surface of the ground and, you know, a little bit of soil. So that's what we just want to make a little safer for pedestrians but
I may have misread that then in my, when I originally read the plan then, so that was my fault then, that's completely understandable. I thought they were proposing totally new stairs going down to the new water from the,
Nope,
from
no,
the
yeah,
top of
so it's
their
the
yard.
stones in the existing footpath that go from the edge of the lawn to the
All right.
stone,
That
to
was
the wood
all I
stairs.
had then, thank you.
Hi, Bob. Denise?
Yes.
You know how I feel about no activity zones, but if the commission is saying that it's already been disturbed and we're
It's
not
a
gonna...
it's a planted area already.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe Josh can say that, you know, I think originally, they wanted them to go straight out
Right.
and perpendicular, and I think they were, you know, they were convinced that that wasn't going to be something that the commission would view favorably, so
Right.
get them to go to the
There-
side.
There are a number of enforcements that need to be done, and I don't know if you want to tie it into what you're approving and not approving. We've got kayaks, paddle boats, something with a winch on it, there's boat and trailer at the bottom, there's chairs, there's a storage container on a blocked base, buoys, paddles, seat cushions, everything is being stored right down there on the beach.
I'm surprised it doesn't wash away in high tide.
I'm surprised also, but the way they have everything wedged behind the winch, that there's a winch down there too, but the way they have everything behind the boat trailer, So I don't know if the commission wants to.
Well, I think we can ask Josh if he'd take a look for an enforcement order for what is being stored at the beach area down here.
And then there's Aztec type planks just laid in the grass on the area that you're talking about, to the right of the area that you're talking about putting the stones down. There's just Aztec planks just laying there. I don't know what they use those for.
Yeah, I went in, I did my thing, and I got out of there. It's legitimate concern. I don't know if that could be and somehow worded as a special condition to the amended order to coordinate with the conservation agent on some things that may need to be cleaned up.
I think we make an enforcement order.
Yeah. The path that goes down that you're talking about working on, it is a bit hazardous. I mean, trying to get down there. So
Right.
I'm not sure, help me understand how just putting rocks or stones, large stones, is going to.
So flat stones, so it's not the best solution, but it's, I think, the only appropriate temporary solution that could be permitted under an amended order. Because it is the coastal bank, so you're working on the coastal bank, so we do want to make it safer, but to do something more, that would require, say, a little bit of a machine and put down a gravel base and put some steps and maybe add a handrail. And really, on coastal banks, you more often see what is going on with those wood stairs. It's elevated above the bank so that you're not disturbing the soil and the vegetation. And so that's sort of what we explained to the owner, that there's really not much you can do. We can make some minor improvements. More than that, it should be a separate filing.
Yeah, it's not going to be making it worse in terms of
Well,
slipping.
and I think kids probably have fun running up and down there, but the older people, you watch where you're stepping.
Stepping, yeah. Because I know in order for me to get actually down the hill, I stepped off of the path and was, walking down the side of it, so I
Yeah.
didn't slip and fall. But, okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Josh, your recommendation?
I would agree that anything more than kind of what's being proposed should involve a new notice. I think the replacing and maybe, the increasing of a few flat stones is appropriate for an amended order of conditions. As far as moving with an enforcement, I think you guys can easily cover this under special conditions of the amended order. I don't think it makes sense to, we do it all the time under our special conditions. So, I would say that this site might be unique and different than a lot of the sites we look at because of how steep that bank is.
It's hard to take the things up the bank and.
Yeah, but they can't store them on the beach.
Yeah, maybe there's some, ability in the future to request whatever it be, the kayak rack or some type of storage rack for some of that stuff, but I would certainly discuss it with the owner.
Right, I mean, they actually have a boat on a trailer on the beach. It's
Right.
just,
How they get a trailer down there?
no idea, there's a trailer down there.
It's a catamaran. I think it was a catamaran, not,
Not a
I don't think it
boat.
was a trailer. I thought it was a
I
catamaran.
thought it was on a trailer, the way that it was. Bob, you'll see when you go out there, what exactly is going on down there. And as I said, there's a post with a winch on it in the sand also. So what exactly they're doing down there, they shouldn't be.
Is there any flat area down there they can store things in up from the rocks?
If they come up the steps, there's a flat area, but not below the steps.
Because some of that is very steep grading.
But if you're talking a kayak, I mean, you can get a kayak up and down a hill. Actually, 2 or 3 kayaks down there, I'm not sure. And then they have a chair just stuck in the grass down there, And we have to talk about a couple of the neighbors have lawn chairs and everything all down there along the,
Well,
yeah.
I'm not gonna say you can't put a chair down there and sit.
Well, you can take a chair down there with you when you go. I mean, when I go down to the beach and where I am, I carry my chair down with me. I
I'm
set
sure-
it up.
I'm sure those chairs are a little bit bigger. I didn't walk down the hill.
No, it was just a plastic chair.
So what would you recommend that we put in this amended order?
That they have to clean up their enforcement issues.
If the commission is inclined, maybe I could meet with the property owner and Brian and come up with a solution. Maybe we have a discussion and see what could be possible down there. If that's how the commission wants to move, it's something that we could do. I don't necessarily agree with how they're being stored now, but maybe there's a conversation to figure out a better alternative. How you word that in a condition is up to you.
Well, just that there has to be a meeting with you to
Yeah.
rectify the situation that's
That
down there.
Josh meets with the owner to discuss the violations regarding storage of equipment on the beach and possible, and recommendations for future activity. So if someone want to take this is a public hearing. No, this is enforcement order. It's not a public hearing.
No, it's a public hearing.
It's a public hearing, it's
Oh,
an
it is right,
amended
it's
order.
two, it's amendment. I was hoping we're at the end of the agenda. We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is a public, anybody comment on this particular project before we ask for them? Did I get back to everybody?
I had no questions on it, yeah. I think I skipped on this one.
I think you skipped Paula
You
Jean.
skip, but my questions are answered now.
You mean I missed you? Sorry, I thought I
Okay, I
had,
would have,
I thought I had
that's all
gone
right.
down the line.
I said I'd come back at the end,
Oh, and I forgot to
but I
come
don't
back.
have any further questions.
What else am I forgetting? No one else, no comments or anything like that, so someone want to take a shot at the closing the hearing?
A motion to close the hearing?
Second.
I have a motion and a second, close the hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now, the amended order of conditions. Someone wants to take a shot at it?
I motion to approve the amended order of conditions with the special condition that the conservation agent meets with the property owner to discuss the storage of materials on the
Beach.
On the beach.
That be the motion.
I would also just add that we mirror the special conditions that were, any special conditions in the actual order of conditions.
With the inclusion of any special order of conditions in the original order of conditions.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. Okay,
Thank you so much.
there you go. Okay, we have, my pen won't, there it is. All right, that's done, so this is my done pile. We have 114 Pinehurst Drive with amended order of condition. Anybody here to talk about us, to talk about it? I'm surprised anybody's still awake.
Calvin Murphy, trustee.
Thank you.
Linda Cooper, trustee.
Cooper?
Yes.
And Kevin. Okay, Keith, Kevin.
Kevin. So I believe at the last meeting, the discussion was that Josh was going to follow up with the contractor.
Yep, so I met with Dwayne Volko, who was the gentleman that did the work out there. And, we had a discussion of what we thought, what the amount of material was moved during the previous actions. And we came to a ballpark figure of about 20 cubic yards. to give you an idea of how much that is, it's probably about one tri-axle load full. So that's what we talked about, and we also talked about, ways that beach nourishment could be accomplished now that the access from the road is probably not appropriate.
Bless you.
Before, he was able to roll his machine down the end of the road, but since the DPW has gone in and stabilized that bank, that doesn't really seem like appropriate access for his machines. So he has a small machine that when he goes to do the beach nourishment, they can dump the material right on the edge of the seawall, drive his machine down. He can do the appropriate grading that needs to occur, and he has a crane truck that he can then pick up that piece of equipment and pull it out of the beach area. So that was the conversation I had with Dwayne.
And then we had a follow-up conversation of how you determine, and Josh was going to try to arrange a site visit with Dwayne to come back and determine. I was down there today. That beach in front of the abutter's house has never been larger than it is right now. So to come up with a net figure of 20 was moved, some large portion of that has already built back up
Push
again.
right back. You're not going to stop the sand from moving.
Correct. So to put 20 back, and again, none of this is up against the seawall, because we didn't go within 10 feet of the seawall. To put 20 feet, 20 yards back at the seagrass in two high tides is going to bury that seagrass and further bury that storm drain, which is already, that beach is now extended flat another 20 feet past the storm drain. So I don't know if you were able to get in touch with him again to talk about coming back out, to come up with sort of a, here's what you need to deposit there in order to put that back the way it was, because most of it's back already.
Maybe we. And Josh, is there any concern, just a question, is there any concern regarding the seagrass if that 20 cubic was actually put back? Because it's already, most of it's already back, anything in terms of the detriment to the seagrass at all?
Well, I mean, anytime you place fill over vegetation, there's a potential that it dies, sure. But I think it would obviously be a condition of the commission that you don't push material on the seagrass. Yeah.
Protected entity, so you
Yeah.
can't.
I mean,
So
I'm
it
just-
wouldn't
that
be
would- was my only concern.
Right, I mean, it would obviously not be the intent of the commission to destroy vegetation on the beach, so we wouldn't condition a project that would do that. I also feel that if sediment was going to cover that grass because of wave action, it would have already happened. I don't think accretion of material is gonna happen on that sea, or that beach grass,
Okay.
because of the nourishment project.
Yeah, I mean, that was my concern simply because that is what protects that piece of the PBIA, Pinehurst Beach Improvement Association land in beach area. So that was my only concern with replacing that, and God forbid, something happened to the seagrass. That's part of our beach. That's what we want to try to also maintain.
The grass that's there is all, that's what stopped the sand from
Right.
just flowing up behind here.
Yeah.
That, the grass is what kept the sand in place.
Right, I would say beach nourishment on any part of that project probably wouldn't end up in the vegetation
Okay.
because of, any force of nature.
Right.
If that was the case, I think it would have already happened.
Okay. Well, I guess when we talk about net, whatever we're going to do, that we just make sure that that conversation with LACO is had, simply because it's so important to our beach.
Yeah, I think you said it great. Vegetation is the one thing that is saving yours and probably a lot of beaches.
Right.
in the Commonwealth, to be honest.
Absolutely.
So in no way would the commission condition a project to allow for the damaging of one of those resources.
I know it wouldn't be intentional. No was anything intentional, right? So,
So do you have a plan, we talked 2 weeks ago, I guess, to reach out to Dwayne and come up with what you feel is a reasonable,
Yeah, I think it's,
collectively a reasonable
I think
amount
it's
to put
something
back?
that he and I both need to actually see on site together. When I spoke to him, we did not meet at the site. We were,
Right.
talking at a different project. But I think that is appropriate.
Okay. And then, at the same time, that if we're gonna bring in trucks, and we're gonna dump sand, and we're gonna bring in a machine, we would also like, at the same time, to add additional sand
To your property,
on the main beach,
behind the seawall.
behind the seawall. And his estimate on that was 40 yards. That we would like to include in the same amended order, so that we bring sand in once, we put a machine down once. We correct what needs to be corrected to the right, and then at the same time, spread sand back in front of our seawall.
All right. What would your recommendation be? I'm to the point as, really, do we need to put more sand there? Because we haven't lost sand, it just moved around. Or am I missing something?
I think there's definitely a conversation to be had about putting more sand there, at least, probably up against the jetty. One of the things when you're constructing a jetty, you always talk about the entrapment level.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel that the sand that's against the jetty
It's
is
sufficient.
in line with that.
Because it seems to be eroding away behind it. There seems to be less sand upstream from the jetty than there was.
I was there today and was very surprised to see as much sand as there was on the upstream side of that jetty.
Okay, so
Because my understanding of jetty
it-
physics is your sand builds up on the, say the right word here, the wind and water coming from Parkwood hits the jetty and deposits sand on that
Yep.
side, and trenches,
develop on the upriver.
yes. And I was very surprised to go there today and see how much sand there is in front of that jetty already. Now, that could have just been a function of, that we had such major storms for this past winter, but there's sand accumulating on the association side of the jetty in front of where the old stairs were.
In front of the rock pile. In front of the rock pile,
In
Yeah.
front of what were stairs.
What were
once upon-
stairs, yes.
Once upon a time.
yes.
So we'd like to just get that all, approval anyway, to do that all at once.
Would you like to give us a formal, I'm going to ask the questions around. Joe?
Well, I know they're talking about maybe bringing equipment up in that little paper road, right?
No.
There's a,
I'm
No.
not, no, I
No.
don't think so.
Well, it's
I don't
not
think you
coming in-
could, I don't
it's
think
not
you
coming
could
on the
fit
road at all.
anything in there.
so how are you gonna get all the sand onto the beach?
We're gonna take our fence down out front,
Oh, gotcha.
drive the truck to
Okay,
the
I was
edge
gonna say, because there's that big massive rock that the town put in there.
to keep
so
people
you
from
can't get
driving in there.
Yeah,
Take our chain link fence down, back the truck up, dump the sand onto the beach.
gotcha, you gotta put a chain link fence back up when you.
Oh, yeah, we're just gonna roll it out and roll it back.
in.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Donna?
No question.
Jessica?
No question.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
The only question is the material that is brought in the abutters and how they feel about all that material. 'Cause some of that might be the abutters on the left, I guess I would just say. Oh, is it the right?
Facing the water.
Upstream.
Upstream?
Upstream, yes,
up the
that's it.
river?
That's it. But that's the only question and concern, I guess.
Paula Jean?
No questions, thank you.
Michael?
No questions, thank you.
Denise?
No questions.
And the one other, David has submitted,
David?
Moore, the other trustee,
Okay,
has submitted a sieve analysis and could not make it tonight, but has a bag of sand
To show you?
to give to you,
Show us.
to say, this is the sand that matches that sieve analysis.
I did receive the sieve analysis.
oh, okay.
I
Is
don't
there-
know that looking at a bag of sand is the way to do that,
I
but,
thought that was part of it. I thought we had to do that.
have to bring your sand.
that was something that was done
Bring it
with
back.
the prior agent.
Okay.
Anybody anybody online or in the audience who would like to comment on this project? Yeah, I see somebody, please come forward and identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Sheila Marinucci. I'm in a butter to the project. I support all the sand that they want to put back that they took away, and the additional sand. If I understood correctly, you want to add sand in front of the seawall on the beach and not onto the lawn of PBIA, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay,
At this
yeah.
point in time, on this particular amended order of conditions, we are only talking about in front of the seawall.
Okay, yes, because it has gone down. I think I sent pictures to you, Josh.
I thought you wanted 20 yards on your property.
That's on a separate RDA that we
Oh,
submitted.
that's coming?
That's coming.
Oh,
in-
okay, I
in
You'll
was-
see that in 2 weeks.
which is
Okay,
to
then
replace-
I will take it out of here.
is to replace the stairs
Get
on the
another
building
folder.
and then do the sand on the
Okay.
side yard.
Right, because the wall in front did lose quite a bit. The PBIA wall lost a few feet of sand since you built the brand-new wall, so certainly we're totally support having sand to protect their wall.
Add sand, okay, thank you. Anything
Uh,
else?
Yes, I did have a comment. I'm going to read it because I just want to save you guys time. You've been dealing with this project for so long. And I'm sorry you've had to do that, basically. On the day the violations took place, I asked repeatedly about the lack of approvals for the movement of sand, and I was lied to and told all permits were in place. That same day, Conservation was there, Wareham Police, and Environmental Police were there watching the heavy equipment and the wetlands being altered. Were they also lied to and told that the permit was in place, or complacent, complicit? What was that about?
I have no idea. There's nobody here to represent those parties as to what they were told and not told, but we didn't approve it. And I don't know. Josh, were you there at all?
Yes, I was there. I don't know that we were lied to. It was made clear that that was not approved in the project.
The heavy equipment on the beach was never discussed here.
No, that
We never
No,
approved
not-
it.
Yes,
Not
it was.
necessarily the heavy equipment on the beach, but just the moving of the
Moving-
sand.
So the heavy equipment was on the beach for the jetty. The police were called by another abutter, Mary Taylor, and.
No,
I-
that's a mistake.
Up, up, up,
I
up.
have the
Sorry,
apologies.
I'm having her speak, please.
Dave Moore
So,
called me. I have his
on-
apology.
On 10/25/23, according to call number 23-29955, at 10/25, Mary Taylor, unknown, Wareham, Mass., called regarding a report of someone removing sand from the beach with a bulldozer. Units report a permitted project. Conservation was on site and aware of the work, investigated, according to the Wareham Police.
Okay, so Dave Moore sent me an apology for something else. That's fine.
So again, I think what happened with the sand, that is the issue that we're here to create the amended order of conditions, not the jetty project, not the heavy equipment on the sand on the beach, because the equipment on the beach was there to complete the jetty project, unless we were all coming in with heavy rocks on our own, which was not the case. The jetty project was done that day on 10/25. I believe the abutter is speaking to when someone called the police, they had already been called by Miss Taylor, and that's when they came down. So I think what we're missing is, or what we're trying to say is, we're here to talk about the sand and replacement of the sand. That was not part of the condition of the project. We now understand that that needed to be part of the project, and we want to make that correct, and we want to amend that. So that's why we're here, and that's why we want the sand placed on the beach, so that we can put it back where it was taken from, which was in front of an abutter's home, but not in front of their wall. And so that needs to be made clear as well. So again, we're at your mercy. We would love to put some sand on the beach to make it correct and make sure that we're not hurting anything, as it, takes away. But we also want to protect our wall, our seawall. That is our property.
Yes.
That is our property. We have been paying taxes on that property for 60-something years.
So-
And people have given us, we do RDAs all the time for seawalls that come onto our property.
We charge for those, right?
That's correct.
And as
Please.
Mrs. Lavin, I
So,
understand that
again-
it's private. My question again was
Can you
about,
wait until she's done, then I'll ask you to ask your questions.
Again, we're just here to make sure that we understand what the new order of conditions is, to abide by that, to make sure we put the sand where it's needed, what Josh has indicated, and hopefully get some in front of our own wall to make sure we shore that footing. Thank you.
I understand the need of the heavy equipment on the beach in order to do the jetty, but there are some pictures of that heavy equipment bulldozing sand.
Yes.
Which was, that to me was why you're here is a violation.
Correct.
And that's what we're
Absolutely.
working on is that.
That is not even in question.
In question.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're here to say that, yes, sand was moved improperly with the wrong equipment, and that's what we're here. Now, and
and my question was, knowing that it was a violation, that permits were not in place, how could, who called the environmental police? And how could
I
conservation be
don't
there?
know who did.
Okay.
I mean, the idea is Josh, you were there, and the equipment was there to do the jetty.
And the contractor also knew he could move the
Well,
sand?
I don't know what he did or did not know.
Okay, right, then that's, I guess,
So, I mean, to me,
it's,
the violation of moving the sand is why we're here.
Yeah, I guess for a point of order, you guys are reviewing the amended order of conditions.
And only that.
Not potential construction of the jetty or anything
Yep.
like that.
yes, this was about the sand.
I will say that, there are two ways that you can address issues that come before the Conservation Commission. You can go an enforcement order route, which normally ends with a notice of intent, the commission issuing an order of conditions, and them rectifying their issues that way. What tends to work better is going the amended order of conditions route, which is, something the commission reaches out to an applicant who's in violation and says, we can go one of two ways. The easiest way to rectify the issue is the amended order of conditions.
All right.
And that's where we're at tonight.
And who are you? And you joined the table? You have a comment?
Thank you.
I'm Mary Taylor. Sorry, I've got bad knees. I was just wondering if the Army Corps of Engineers was involved in this.
We're only here to talk about,
But regarding the violation of the bulldozer.
we're not here to talk about the violation of the bulldozer. We're here to talk about the moving of the soil, correct? The bulldozer should never have been there, and I don't know what the Army engineers have to do with this at all.
It also crossed over a water main that goes over to Hamilton Beach.
It absolutely did not. We
Oh,
had, excuse me.
The bulldozer did go over the beach.
It's all right. Army Corps of Engineer, are they involved in this project at all?
I don't think the Army Corps of Engineers takes out enforcement matters. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think they do. And they would only be looking at, normally the Army Corps of Engineers looks at structures within the waterways of the Commonwealth. So jetties, seawalls, docks, piers, marinas, that type of thing. Again, I don't know that even trying to involve them means anything, and they're still, after the completion of the jetty, they're still gonna have to get a Chapter 91 license for the jetty anyway.
Okay.
My understanding from the Buzzards Bay Coalition and the study being done by Mass Maritime, that storm drain and that water pipe would require the Army Corps of Engineer involvement. and also mass wetlands, fisheries, because it violated the Wetland Protection Act.
Yeah, so the storm drain in question is something that I'm working with Buzzards Bay Coalition on, getting grant funding to try to clean up the Pinehurst stormwater management system.
Okay.
So they've been out there studying the actual storm scepters in the road and the storm drain to collect data to see if the levels of contamination coming out of there would be appropriate to apply for grant funding.
Okay. Taylor, anything else?
So you're saying there wasn't a permit needed by the Army Corps of Engineers for this project at all?
There is, it's a Chapter 91 permit, and it normally comes after the construction is done.
Of the jetty?
They will certify that it is done according to the...
After the construction, not before?
Right, they certify that the construction was done according to plans that are
Because
submitted
Mass
by them.
Maritime told me something differently, but then again, they're only students.
I would like to see, if they did, which I'm not saying they didn't, I would like to see the regulations where it is, so maybe we
Okay.
could be better in line with it.
I can get you in touch
But
with them.
my understanding is the way that it's being constructed is appropriate.
Okay. Anything else?
Somebody has their hand up
Somebody
in the back.
Can you come forward, please, and identify yourself? No, come up to the table so we can hear you.
You have to identify yourself for the record.
Okay, my name is Mary Ramsey. I live at 120 Pinehurst Drive.
Mary, have a seat, please. You need to get to the microphone.
When you said you might get a grant to do the storm drain, would you be going under the beach and under the seagrass to connect that storm drain to what's in the bay?
So the grant that, the potential grant that we're looking into would be a feasibility study to see what's appropriate for a potential outfall that already exists or capturing the storm scepter treatment another way.
Okay.
The town technically owns the beach road that's right next to that storm scepter. So there's potential that you put some type of storm scepter in the town road layout and capture that, and maybe it doesn't have to be discharged at all. Or, maybe the sediment or the treated storm water isn't at a standard that needs any improvement at all. And maybe you consider fixing the outfall that exists. But
Okay.
again, it's not something that is done easily or cheaply. So exploring grant funding opportunities for that is kind of the route I'm looking at.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions going around, anybody? What we're talking, anybody else? Anybody? I'm not gonna ask one at a time. Anybody got any comments on this? If
I have
not,
a quick question, just to clarify, what are we deciding on?
how much sand,
How much sand?
how much sand, and how it's to be disposed, how it's supposed, how much sand and how it's going to be placed on the beach? Is that what we're talking about?
I would agree. Right now, there is a proposal for a total of 60 cubic yards. 20 that was moved, 40 that the applicant has come in with. There is a potential that maybe the 20 that was moved doesn't necessarily need 20. But I guess in that token, there's also a conversation of if there is sand accreting there, maybe the 40 yards that's being requested doesn't need to be 40 either. So what I would maybe say to the commission is, in the order of conditions, you put a maximum of 60 yards with an amount to be discussed between the, Falco Marine and your agent. Or the commission if you want them to come back.
And actually,
And how it's to be dispersed?
Right, me and,
A small
right,
machine.
Valco Marine and I had a conversation of how it could be accomplished that seems appropriate.
Does that answer your question?
I think so.
Anybody else to comment on this?
And actually, our calculations were the length of our seawall, and in hindsight, didn't extend past where the stairs used to be and over to the jetty. So I don't think we'd be any excess sand, even at 60. I don't think it's, our calculation didn't include going all the way over there, so I don't think there's gonna be too much sand.
Okay.
So sand was removed from the beach?
No.
It was relocated.
Moved from where you are to where I am.
It was shoveled, it was shoved with a big tractor.
With a rubber tracted with vegetable oil replacing hydraulic lines, and the hydraulic lines to ensure that there was, even if a hydraulic line burst, that there would be no damage. We tried to do everything we could, everything we knew of.
Yeah, Welcome Marine does a lot of coastal work, and their equipment is maintained with not hydraulic and oil. It's maintained with chemicals that are a lot safer if they were to be exposed to the resource area.
All right, close the hearing.
A motion to close the hearing?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, 600. All right, who wants to take an amended order of conditions? Someone want to take a jab at it?
Josh, what was your recommendation?
And we'll just move it whatever you say, we'll move it.
Okay. A maximum of 60 cubic yards be used to address the violation and the beach nourishment request, to be determined by the conservation administrator and Flauco Marine, the company that has been contracted to do the work.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm sorry to do this after.
Wait, it should be 500, just shouldn't vote on this.
That's right, sorry, 500. But you haven't heard any of the previous hearings.
And the 60 that we're talking about, I thought we were talking about 20. And does this include the request that's coming?
So with the amended order, they came back to us looking for guidance on how to remediate the violation that had occurred. And within the amended order, they wanted to move forward with an anticipated project of the 40 cubic yards of beach nourishment that they were looking to do in the future. They wanted to address it now since the machinery and the equipment and the delivery is being made.
So this is not what's going to go on their upland by their house, by their beach house. That's another project.
That's in 2 weeks.
That's in two.
Come on back.
All right. That does it. Yes?
I need to step away for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think everybody does. Can we take a break for 5 minutes, folks? It's now 8:45. Can we get back in 5 minutes? Thank you, please.
Are we done?
You're done, thank you. You're done.
So does that mean we have the amended order?
Yes.
Once I
Yes.
issue it.
Once Josh finishes the paperwork, you'll
Sweet mother.
you'll be done.
Put that in your done pile.
Yes, that's on my done pile.
Thank you, all of you.
For the record, there is a 10-day appeal period.
Jetty.
live again.
All right, so make,
But they're pine borers.
to make it known, the apology.
I would like to make a recommendation that we take the cleanup of Agawam Mill Pond out of order, please, and so that we can have the one person left in the audience go home. So can you please come up and talk to us about CAMP?
Thank you, Mrs. Chairman, and the rest of the board. I think probably most of you know CAMP, cleanup of Agawam Mill Pond.
Please identify yourself
Oh,
for
I'm sorry,
our
Mike
person
Lenahan,
to-
I'm the president of the association.
I spoke when you were saying your name, so say it again, please.
Yep, Mike Lenahan.
Thank you. Okay,
And every year for the last 10 years, I think, I've been coming here and, you know, we're treating the invasive weeds that are in the pond, and it's an annual event. It takes us a half a day in the middle of June, and we're here again, you know, we prepare a game plan for each year, which Josh has had. Then we do a final report on how it worked out. So I saw you last year at this time. It was another successful treatment that we accomplished last year. The pond was in great shape. And we are going to do a very similar operation again, about 12 acres of treatment out of a 150-acre pond. And that serves to pretty much make all boatable areas, all the navigable areas accessible for the entire summer. So it works good, plenty of fish, plenty of everything else is working.
for those that don't know, we've asked them to come forward every year and talk to us about what their plans are to keep us updated, because at one time, you couldn't swim, you couldn't boat, you couldn't row, the weeds were so bad that you put an oar in the water and you couldn't have the strength to pull it back up because it was so covered with weeds, and you've done a great job keeping that area open for recreation use.
I appreciate that. Even Wareham Trust put us in a little movie, I guess, last year too, because they started using it quite a bit for, you know, for kayak outings and things like that. So we're part of a Wareham video where they cast off and, you know, they're bragging about a lot of the nice places in Wareham, but it's kind of cool that Agawam Mill Pond made the list of nice places now, so.
Great, a lot of work,
And I-
went into this.
Yeah, it's been good. We get about 70% of the abutters are members, and they, you know, we finance this thing all ourselves every single year, so. And we have, we had a fundraiser last year, a car show, which, you know, we do with the Elks in conjunction with the Elks. And we're going to do another one this year, too, to help us raise funds. I mean, they've been a great, you know, teammates with us and to help us, you know, they authorize us to use the lot. We had 80 cars last year, 80 beautiful classic cars, so. Josh, if you have a classic car, you're invited. I might be able to slip you in for free.
Wow. You want to give me a classic
Why don't we just
car?
cut that, erase that, okay? I don't need, only kidding.
As long as it's worth $49, I'll be fine.
What's $49?
That is the
Yeah.
limit.
That's the limit
Oh, okay. It's a $20 entry fee for cars, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
unless you want to get me in trouble with the Board of Ethics.
I suggest you pay, yeah.
Thank you.
I think, I might just, as long as I have the opportunity, I'll update you on what's going on with the dam. If you remember, last time I was here in the fall, unrelated to the treatment, I wanted to, you know, let the board know what the Mass Highway was doing. They're planning to replace the fish ladder and the dam down on 28, which is a very cool project. But, you know, their idea was to drop the water level in Agawam Mill Pond by 2 feet for a couple of years. So obviously that did not go well with our association or anyone else that actually uses the pond. So we objected strongly, and many of the abutters along the pond, meaning like ADM and so forth, that use the water too. I mean, they weren't, so there was letters written by commercial, well, actually, even the Cranberry Growers Association, okay, wrote a letter. They wrote them to the district highway engineer and complained about this idea. In addition to what I wrote them, And now supposedly the engineer is trying to redesign everything so that they don't, not redesign the dam, just the construction method. They do not need to drop the pond 2 feet to accomplish their project. And so now the Mass Highway has directed their engineering firm to, to try to accommodate.
Come up with a copper dam or something like that
Yes.
to reduce, yeah,
There
just,
you go.
yep.
Yep. So it's moving in the right direction for us. We haven't got a complete confirmation. It appears to me that the whole project is delayed. It was never going to happen this year anyway, so we don't have to worry about it. But it was originally scheduled to start construction in 2025. But at the rate they're going, most of the abutters, where they're going to, like even the Elks Club has not been formally notified that they're going to take some property from them to do the construction,
Everything
So it's
takes a long
behind.
time.
They're behind it probably a year, the way it looks to me.
Just like the Swiss Beach Light is now another 2 years out.
Really?
So no matter what happens, nothing seems to come about as originally planned.
Yeah.
We'll continue to,
So, I'll keep you posted on it. You can be sure if they don't change the method of construction, you'll be the first to know, Josh,
Maybe.
don't we know somebody that works for Mass Highway in this region?
You guys are very familiar with an employee of MassDOT.
Yeah, it's hard to believe
Sat
we
in my
can't,
seat for 30 years.
it's hard to believe we
so-
can't put some
Oh,
influence
oh
onto
my God.
Bichette.
Isn't that strange? That's right, too. I
Yes.
didn't realize, well, he might be close to this project. I don't know what he's doing over there. I haven't talked to him since,
But
but that's pretty strange.
I'm sure if he sees the word Wareham,
Yeah.
he will perk up on us and help.
I would hope so.
Hope so.
I wouldn't
Okay.
f- He's been approving this thing with me for 9 out of the 10 years, right?
Yep.
So,
Thank you, Mike.
that's good to know.
Thank you
All right,
for
well, thank you very
hanging
much.
in there
and
so
Sorry to
long.
take up your time. You had an exciting evening tonight.
And we got a long way to
Not
go.
over yet, if you want
No,
to sit down.
we have,
Don't
have-
meet tomorrow and eat.
There you go.
we have 5 enforcement orders.
Nobody's here for them.
All right. Candy Street LLC, 4 Candy Street, we're waiting for an,
They're working with an engineer to get the notice of intent to us, so. There was a stop work order put on the property, and I know that they are currently contracted with an engineer to come before us.
okay. Next one,
Um,
50 Shangri-La. Ta-da.
I'll pull up photos, it'll make a lot of this a lot easier.
Somebody was out, somebody, from the engineer, someone was in the town out in that area and noticed a roof was being taken off of a house. He went back the next day, the whole house was gone. So we have a picture of 50 Shangri-La. Of course, it's on the water.
We had a picture of 50 Shangri-La. I don't know where it is. What else can I show you? I can show you the site plan.
Oh, no, this isn't 50 Shangri-La, this is the track. Clear to the water at the motorcycle track, that's another one. It's not on this, it's not on here tonight. Okay, wait a minute. Where did I do it? I had a picture of it. Well, anyway, the house is gone. No permit to do anything.
Does it now give someone a beautiful view?
So,
It was only about 20 feet from the house to the pond, so there was no view to have, but
So like Sandy said, one of the town employees was out in the area, noticed that the roof rafters were exposed on a Thursday afternoon, and when they went to check it out on Monday, the entire structure was gone. Here you will see engineered plan of when they came before us to do a septic tank. So what exists out there right now is a foundation and
okay, pass it around, that's 50.
a foundation and all the materials to construct, maybe all the materials to construct the house within the foundation.
Gonna build a new house?
They're building a new house on the existing foundation. I would say that they extended the foundation to include this deck as part of the foundation, which they're stating potentially was already part of the foundation. I don't believe that, but, so there may be some type of enforcement on having them remove part of the foundation.
But absolutely everything between the house and the pond has been bulldozed.
Right.
Is this like a house theft, or is this someone took their house and they were gonna secretly build another house on the footprint and no one would
Oh,
notice?
I didn't know I need a demolition I didn't know I need a demolition permit, quote unquote.
To knock down a house and build a new one.
Well, I don't know about building a new one, but he didn't know he needed a demo permit to tear the house down. So,
But the people he hired might have had an inkling that. you
well,
needed a
I don't know who did it or who hired, but I just, here's a picture of, what, it's down in a little,
Yeah, the demo company.
down a
might
little
have-
hill on the way to, the pond. Gone.
Crazy.
This house is not visible from the road at all, except for maybe the roof when it's there. And if they were quicker in building over the weekend, this could have probably all been done without anyone knowing.
The AZAC's for.
It really is.
That's pretty crazy.
So that's an enforcement order I'm looking for the commission to sign tonight.
Okay, someone, we need a promotion, we need a motion to
Issue an
approve,
enforcement.
issue an enforcement order for 50 Shangri-La Boulevard.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain, you got it, 600, Josh.
Okay, I have pictures of the next one. It is 33 Pine,
33 or 37?
sorry, 37.
37 Pine
and
Lane.
I think it's Pine Lake Drive. Yes. But that's all right. Let me share my screen.
I did not get to this site.
I have photos of it from before. So what you're looking at currently is a photo of a house that had 2 additions placed on the front of it and a deck that was placed on the back of it with vegetation removed in the form of pine trees.
What's the address of that one?
37 Pine,
This is 37 Pine, okay.
Pine
Pine
Lake, he said,
Lane.
not Lane.
yeah, Pine
Lake.
Lake.
Oh, this is a typo.
And this was also a property before the new owners acquired it. This was also a property that I was about to move on an enforcement order with for a dock. So, we can address that with them now, but here are some photos. So where you see the meter box in this photo, that used to be the entrance, almost like a mud room or something, small entrance. They extended each side of the house out to meet the front end of that. That part doesn't fall within the 30-foot no activity zone, so it's something that the commission may have permitted. Here is cuttings of the pine trees that were removed. I got some pictures of stumps on how close they were to the actual pond.
Did they do this with or without a building permit?
This was also done without a building permit.
Without a building.
So, the way that building permits work is they go into the building department. One of the building department employees will make a determination on if they feel the work being done requires involvement of conservation. And then they'll add me to the building permit, and then I'll have a chance to say it's a good project, we don't have any interest, or it's a poor project and they need to come before us with some type of permitting. So I'd say a lot of the enforcements that we see are something that not only wasn't done without conservation approval, but a building permit as well. So,
So it's amazing what gets done on a weekend around town when there's nobody around to hear, or no one drops the dime saying, hey, there's a problem.
And there are only so many town employees to cover such a large town. Okay. Moving on. Yes, please. A vote to issue an enforcement order.
So moved.
I have that motion, and I have a
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Now, there's a good chance, with those trees as close to the dwelling, we would have permitted, for a safety reason, to remove them. But we weren't given the chance to review it.
I think it's easier to get forgiveness than permission
Yes.
theory.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't have to be.
Right.
You
And we
could
require
force them
replacement.
to replace the trees in some way.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. The next one is for 71 Onset Avenue. Did you, I know I saw pictures, did you send them to me?
I thought I don't know if I did or did not. I think okay, now, 71 Onset Ave. Back in '22, there was a violation of clearing from the house to the water, and we gave them a notice. They came in for an enforcement order, and the owner said she would be in front of us with an RDA, and at that time, we would issue a fine. And that was done in May of '22. We still haven't seen her. Driving down Onset Ave, I looked to my left, and it's cleared again. So I brought it up to Josh. So what you have here is a pile of pictures of the original hearing, pictures I've taken in March of '24, and pictures I took in May of '22. You can see where that all cleared again. So this is 71 Onset Ave. And she says, oh, I will be bringing an RDA, and we're still waiting for it. Okay, so this is a enforcement order at 71 Onset Ave.
It's a second enforcement order on the same issue.
Yes, they were given an enforcement order and told to come back with an RDA, and we're still waiting for the RDA, and they cleared it again. And if you take a look at the picture, the same tree stump is there from '22 as opposed to '24 and '23 and '20, whatever those years were. So, yep. Okay.
You guys have to make a motion to do the enforcement.
To support, is it support
What do you
or?
people have to
Issue,
do?
I motion to issue the enforcement order.
Yes, we have a motion to issue an enforcement order at 71 Onset Ave.
Yes, second?
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain?
Sorry, guys, my blood sugar's getting low.
Then we have 2523 Cranberry Highway, and Denise raised the question, and Josh looked at it.
Yeah, I'll pull it up for you. So this is, I believe, an open order of conditions, where on the property, the property potentially changed hands since you guys had issued an enforcement against them, so the new owner may not even be aware that there's an enforcement or order of conditions that needs to be complied with as of right now. I don't know that we need to cover it necessarily under an enforcement. It might be an opportunity, I can reach out to the new owner and have a discussion about the open order of conditions and their plan to address that.
Okay.
This is on which one?
This is on the discussion of 2530 Cranberry Highway. So if you look at the screen,
The hearing was September 17th of '22.
so,
The backyard?
yeah, so
Oh,
this property here had an enforcement against it because of, there's a wetland system back here. The clearing and grading of the property prompted the commission to require stabilization of this bank with plantings. It's hard to tell if those have even been put in yet. but this photo that you're looking at now is also a year old, so,
Wow, that's a big area of just dead dirt.
What's there
No.
now is this gigantic mound of dirt and a backhoe sitting on top of the mound of dirt.
right, so, initially it was the homeowner that lived here that, created the enforcement issue. We now believe that the rental equipment property has purchased that land, and they're using that for some of, the storage of their material.
Now, what's surprising is that
Why?
we have a very active town.
Supposedly, he has taken it to the town and nothing's been done, from what I understand.
It's hard to believe that,
Me too, but
No, he did. He came here.
but he was here at our hearing when we had the first one, but it's hard to believe that he hasn't raised the flag if this has been a violation.
I mean, I heard that he did, but not to us. Elsewhere in
Who
town.
else would he talk to
No
about a
idea.
violation like this? I mean, he's one of the most knowledgeable persons we have in town regarding zoning, planning, and conservation.
We
Surprised
can't
he
name
hasn't
this
been here.
person.
No,
Okay.
No, but I'm surprised that he hasn't. I was surprised when I saw it.
well, yeah, you can see it from the road driving by, and I said, oh, there's a pile of dirt there, but I didn't, I was focused on something
Well, I
else.
thought it was, I didn't realize that the land had actually sold and it was under a new owner also. I thought it was
No
still.
way that the new owner didn't know
Well,
about
the
it.
new owner had to know because he was involved with storing equipment on that property and was told that it had to be.
It was financed, and no, the bank would have required.
Right, a title search,
and
I
it's
agree.
right- I just ran the address, and it's right here.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
like it's missing or anything.
So I guess if the commission would like,
Hey, Josh,
I can reach out to them and figure out what their plan is for
Make a rec-
addressing.
yeah, make a recommendation that Josh reach out to the owner of 2530 Cranberry Highway and speak to him about the property.
Okay.
Somebody has to say it.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Okay. Is there anything else?
Question. Do we follow Robert's rules
Oh, I was gonna ask that
for
too.
our meetings?
We try.
We're supposed to be doing that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I've just wanted to know.
I'd like to think I am.
Clarify.
So it's official that, because it was
Not
sounded
necessarily.
ambivalent, that, whether we should.
We try.
The commission can adopt to follow Robert's Rules of Order, but there's nothing that says the commission has to adopt Robert's Rules of Order as the meeting standard.
It's still a recommendation.
I would recommend that we try to follow Robert's Rules of Order because they, outline
They're pretty
a good-
standard.
Standard.
right.
But should not we have it officially stated whether we do or we do not leave it
Who's
kind of
to say,
loosey-goosey?
we probably did.
We
when we
probably do,
first-
but I think, shouldn't we have a policy, an official policy? Yes, we do? Or we kinda do? I mean, I think it should be, yes, we do, or we
Well-
don't, but maybe it's just
I
the
can
same
remember
as.
doing it 15 years ago, so,
I think we should, but I think we should
The thing
officially.
is, none of us were here 15 years ago, so
but
we're not
Yeah,
clear as to
If you're
what-
gonna sit here and adopt Robert's Rules of Order as the standard for your meetings, that
I've made
means
some
everything
mistakes.
has,
Yeah.
I think every one of our meetings would have violations of Robert's Rules of Order.
it's a recommendation.
Yeah,
It's not
just
a
for,
perfect world, but
for one example, every comment would have to go through the chair to someone else.
So in other words, our goal is to follow, officially, our goal is to follow Robert's rules? Because, I mean, it's designed to
It is
have,
strongly recommended that we follow the
okay.
Roberts, but he's right. Anybody wants to state, through you to the chair, I'd like to ask the
Right.
question. We don't do that.
But I think
No one does.
also important would be if we adopted it and then didn't follow it exactly.
Right.
We wouldn't want someone to invalidate our decisions because we didn't follow the process that we had adopted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
That
think
makes
that
sense.
could
But you can't
undermine.
be half in and half out.
I'm just saying, you don't want it to
You
be
either
used as
are
an
gonna do
excuse.
it, or you're not gonna do it.
Don't, we can be
As flexible as we want to be.
I think so. I think we're holding a good meeting.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
we are.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the state is gonna come back and say, you know, you guys made a good decision, other than the fact that so-and-so spoke out of turn, and now we're issuing a superseding order of conditions. I don't think the state would,
Okay.
they don't get involved into that depth anyway. It could potentially be a problem in, you know, someone appealing our bylaw decision if we do take that stance. But I think simply saying that the commission will try its best to follow Robert's Rules of Order to hold an appropriate meeting is good enough.
I just wondered what the official policy was, officially. We follow it more closely than the 3 other boards I sit on, some of the time, other than the meeting I chair, we follow them. But this is, we do a good job.
okay.
You do a great job.
We have minutes. March 20th, 24 minutes have been out. I have given Josh some of my comments. Does anybody have any comments on that March 20th? Other than
I have a couple of tiny.
Vernal was spelled incorrectly.
Your comments in that
It was
sheet?
spelled as veneer,
it's just
right.
a miss- a
Okay,
missing
that
That's
was
been
one of
given-
my.
That's been given to
I'll make sure it
Josh.
gets done.
And I thought I only abstained in the vote. I didn't think I abstained to close the hearing, unless I did it mistakenly.
I'll
I
take
mean,
a
it's-
look at the
it's a-
video.
It's a moot point.
You want to
Yeah,
look at,
it doesn't,
It's moot. It doesn't really matter, but.
it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, it don't. Okay.
my only comment is that I've asked that the section regarding the change to the bylaws be identified as a public hearing, which it was, and it wasn't so identified in the minutes, and it needs to be in the minutes. It was a public hearing, because someone will come back and question whether or not we had it for the bylaw change. So I've asked that that be identified in the minutes, that it was a public hearing.
I had that we were missing a word somewhere in there.
Oh,
If
missing
it's-
a word?
Did you note it in here? I will make the revisions based on your comment.
Okay, so we have a set of minutes that are about to be revised. Do you want to vote on
Yeah,
them with the as
I move
modified?
that we accept the minutes of the last meeting with corrections.
Okay,
Second?
I have that motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are accepting, not approving, therefore you can vote.
Aye.
Yes.
I have
There's a
one more
difference.
question for you,
Yes.
Sandy. You gave me a copy of the Concom enforcement orders a while back. The one that you referred to tonight from 2018 is not on this list.
Could very well, maybe I,
Is that Waterwiz?
Yeah.
I have the documents. I
was just curious,
don't have
because
the.
I look at this to see if
That's
there's
so
anything
old now?
outstanding, and that one, Water Whizzes wasn't on here.
water was,
I don't
I'm
think
trying to
I-
remember.
On the list, so,
There was something about it.
and it's neither
I
here nor
could very
there.
well,
just-
I could have missed, when I was going through the set of agendas,
all right.
one after another, I may have missed it when I was going through writing that list.
Okay.
Because we do have a very long list of enforcement orders that have never been enforced.
4 pages long.
Yeah,
So I don't,
Doesn't even have the ones that we've brought up.
no.
brought up, so.
I don't,
Yeah, I haven't updated it, and I haven't, I may have
Since
even,
January 2022.
yeah.
I don't have an actual enforcement order for that, but I have a set of minutes.
But
that
there
you-
had to have been something for them to come back and was forced to replant.
Yeah,
So
I
then maybe
mean, we
there
have a,
was, maybe there was no enforcement order, maybe there was something else.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, anyway,
Anyway.
maybe that's why it was missing, if it wasn't an enforcement order.
Because I look at that to try and see if there's anything outstanding that we need to address
Like
before
one
we.
Pond, like 1 Pond Street, 4 Pond Street.
I'm waiting for that one.
Well, I still have it, I still noticed it. Okay,
Record enforcement orders
in minutes.
in the registry.
Yeah,
We do?
I said
no, we
why-
don't.
why
She asked, why don't we?
Okay, why don't we?
I think it could be compelling, because if you record it and there's a lender who has an interest in the property, the lender would put pressure. It could be a violation of the terms of the financing. Lender would put pressure to resolve it.
Plus, I don't think we should address something new for somebody who still has an enforcement order out on something.
No, I think you're talking, it's possible for ongoing, just like, I'm just as concerned of how many outstanding order of conditions are ignored when property is sold because someone,
Supposed to be.
because someone didn't do their due diligence by looking at, yes,
They're never supposed to be.
never supposed to be.
You can't issue a title policy
Well-
with an open order of conditions without an exception, which they don't give.
But there are a lot,
You can do a holdback, I mean, there are things that are required, but if they're closing, you could tell me if your experience is different.
I
but
did one recently in Marion when there was an open lien on a property, not an enforcement order though,
Order of conditions?
something like that.
So is
Well,
it
would
just,
be very specific. if
is
it's
it
an
just
open-
But
oversight?
there was
that
no
somebody-
exception, like there was the ability to do a holdback and then transfer the property over, but there was no ability to
If you have a continuing open order of conditions, like not something that needs to get closed out and resolved, then that can stand. But if it's like something that has, like, generally if it's a finance transaction, lender won't allow it.
okay,
But cash, they would.
something
They do
to,
it cash.
something to
Right.
consider.
Or you could just issue $300 per day fine.
But that's what I mean, is if you record
Right.
enforcement orders and you just happen to send a copy to the lender, right, like that was part of the process, that would get resolved like that. Because it would be a violation of the terms of almost every single financing agreement. The lender would require it, or they would default the loan.
That excludes all private sales and cash sales and not lender requirements, right?
But yes, but many of those are hard money lenders, right, too, like so even you might call it cash, but with a hard money lender, particularly it's a violation.
So this is something we could very well consider at a future meeting as to whether or not we want enforcement orders to be recorded in the Plymouth,
Put it in your rules and regs.
there's your note. Because every once in a while, we get someone two home sales away that it get caught. You know, that there was a change of ownership ignored and then caught, anyway. So if there's anything else on the agenda, yes, Josh?
Do you want me to quickly speak to the Mass DEP
Oh.
revised changes?
Yes,
I will
please,
try to
please.
do it as briefly as humanly possible.
I can't go through those hundreds of pages and totally understand what they're changing, other than we're all in a flood zone.
So, how about this? Why don't I speak to one of the more pressing ones tonight, and we can address the other one another night?
Please.
Okay. All right, no one look at my email.
I'm sorry. 277 unread.
Still on Zoom?
Yes, I am.
Yes, our meeting is still open.
Yes.
Meeting your emails on Zoom.
Okay,
It's the record.
No.
and yes, I have 270 unread emails. You can thank that to the department. Okay, so one of the major changes coming to the wetland regulations is what is acceptable within the flood zone and their flood zone standards. Currently, the Wetlands Protection Act has no standards for flood zone or land subject to coastal storm flowage. So that's what they're looking to address with their update, well, part of their update. And what they're saying is, and I'm gonna try my best to explain this. So there is what's considered the limit of moderate wave action, which they are calling the LIMWA, which is this black dashed line, which you can see on flood maps here. Okay. So this black line with the black arrows coming off of it, the arrows always point towards the area that's going to see a higher wave action, which is usually identified as the V zone or a coastal A zone, which they are creating. They're calling the coastal A zone the MOWA, which is moderate and minimal wave action areas, so MOWA and the MIWA. So basically to say they're looking to establish performance standards for land subject to coastal storm flowage. This is also something that we will identify within our rules and regs, just to have a separate layer of permitting, I guess. So the changes that they're talking about to these areas is the velocity zone of undeveloped or new development is prohibited within the velocity zone.
To put that clearly, the 4 that we just talked about would not have been allowed if this law had gone into place. The 4 homes we just talked about off of Old Jordan and Great Neck would not have been allowed with the new law.
When did it go into effect?
So DEP was looking to push it through this summer. They got a lot of pushback from a lot of different agencies, and they've now extended the comment period. So they're asking, MACC and other organizations are looking for letters of concern about these new regulation changes. That is what would be within our standards for the velocity zone. Currently, within the building department standards, the building code, you know, they have to be 2 feet above the FEMA flood zone. And for the 10th edition, so the new building code standards, they're even looking to extend that to 3 feet above. And then they go on to talk about the redevelopment of the velocity zone. I could share all this with everyone. I don't know if we want to get into the weeds tonight about it.
I think the document I put out